at freetalklive.com.
Have you had enough of the big-name web hosting services that are long on promises but short on bleeding-edge features, uptime, and customer service? Try Agorist Hosting, the agile web host that offers full concierge service from website redesign, full e-commerce solutions, custom apps for your Shopify store, IPFS integration, and more. Agorist Hosting is ready to take your web presence into the future. To get started, head over to agoristhosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, was sentenced to more than 4 years in jail on prostitution charges in New York on Friday. Diddy was found guilty of the crimes in July, which relate to incidents the 55-year-old arranged called freak-offs at hotels across America. FSN's Mitch McCann has more from New York.
On Friday, prosecutors told the judge that Combs should receive a sentence of 135 months in jail, more than 11 years, and argued that he lacked remorse. They asked the judge to consider the long-term effects on the women involved. Lawyers for Combs argued he had learned his lesson. One defence attorney became tearful, telling the court that Combs is now clear-headed, determined, focused and remorseful. Addressing the court himself, Sean Combs described his behaviour as disgusting, shameful and sick. He said because of his decisions, he lost his freedom and the opportunity to be there for his mother and his children. Eventually, the judge sentenced Combs to 50 months and also imposed a $500,000 fine. In his address, the judge said a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which shows you abuse the power and control over the lives of women who you profess to love.
The U.S. government shut down for the first time in almost 7 years after members of Congress failed to agree a last-ditch funding deal. FSN's Charlotte North has more from Washington.
Efforts in the Senate to keep the government funded fell short late on Tuesday despite frenetic negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke this morning after funding was cut off.
At midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices.
The way forward is unclear as both sides have blamed the other for the shutdown. The White House is telling agencies to prepare plans for mass firings.
Those were some of the week's top stories.
This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, mothers across the nation invented a new drug to worry about, confirming that the completely fictitious new substance was appearing in schoolyards across the nation and is easily created from simple household products like sugar, window cleaner, and petroleum jelly. Calling the totally made-up narcotic Scramp, mothers in desperate need of something to fret over deluded themselves into constantly agonizing over the widespread drug epidemic that exists solely in their minds.
My son sits in his room for hours and hours. It must be Scramp. He's a Scramp head. I bet they'll figure out how to scramp with this too.
In other news, a man confidently strides through a beaded curtain without parting it. A father takes a picture of his daughter every day from birth until he abandons his family. And the same homeless man is always begging for change on the same United flight. Stalled contract negotiations have prevented me from reviewing any more news until I receive a co-producer credit. But for more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. It's talk radio you control. You can call and get your thoughts and opinions on the air. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley,
and Angelo.
We got
a lot to talk about.
Yep, the news cycle has been very fast. Lots of things.
It seems to be getting faster and faster every day. Like, it seems like there's much more happening at once.
Yep. One story running right over another. It's hard to even keep track sometimes.
I think that's how they want it.
Who's
it definitely
the they?
Is.
Well, currently the people who are reputable news sources, for one.
Oh,
I feel like
those people. Yeah, definitely.
Those people for sure. The people who pay those people, and then the people who pay those people.
Yes.
Those people are social engineers.
If it bleeds, it leads, as they say in the news biz, and they want to report the violence and the bloodshed.
And there seems to be a lot of that going on lately.
It sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, lots of that. I wish there were less.
Me too.
You know, they tell us that we're in the most, we're technically in the most peaceful time on the planet. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know if it is.
Yeah, they say like on a.
Oh, the safest. I've heard that.
Yeah, yeah, we're like on the safest, most peaceful, like time for a human.
How are they measuring that though?
Yeah, I wonder if they take that calculation only for private coercion and not, governmental coercion.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if
well, they probably don't. Because who funded the study?
So far in America, you don't have to deal with thuggish armies rolling through your town and telling you what to do. It looks like Trump wants to change that, but so far that has not been the thing here. If you live in other countries, you may have, foreign troops in big scary looking tanks driving down the streets and telling you what to do. threatening your life on a daily basis.
They may or may not have an American flag on it.
And I don't know if I consider that a safe situation.
I can't consider it a safe situation because I've had friends literally have a tank driven through their front door by who? The federal government. It doesn't matter who occupies the throne, ladies and gentlemen. What matters is the power they're wielding. I know that for some of you out there, these are your political friends and your allies, and you think that they're going to be your friends and protect America, as you like to say. But in reality, what they're doing is they're creating fear, division, uncertainty, doubt, mistrust, and they're going to use violence to do so. And they're going to destroy America by making you fight each other.
Absolutely. That seems to be how they run it every single time. We already have a caller on the line, so we're going to go to the phones. This is an unscreened caller. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's Dave Ridley in Wyoming.
Hi, Dave Ridley.
Hi, Ridley.
Hey,
you're in Wyoming now, huh?
I am visiting Wyoming, yes.
Awesome.
Oh.
You know, it gets colder than it does in New Hampshire.
Oh, way colder.
I know it does.
Because you really get that wind whipping through.
Oh, you do.
Anyways, what's on your mind, Dave?
They say there's a device that you see attached to many people's cars. It's to allow the car to start.
Oh, like glow plug warmers.
Yeah, because
it's so cold.
The car won't start.
Yeah, I know. If you go into a grocery store, a lot of people will just leave the engine running because if they turn it off when they go inside to like go shopping, you come back out and you can't start it again. So everybody just leaves their cars on in places like North Dakota and Wyoming when they go into Walmart.
Yeah, when it gets real cold there.
I bet they do. I mean, we don't want our cars to freeze after all.
No.
So how much do you guys know about near-death experiences?
A medium amount.
I actually took a class in college that went really in depth on it. I don't remember a ton of it because it was college, but I know a fair amount.
I know some things about NDEs. What do you know about them, Dave?
Well, I don't know anything because I've never had one. But there is a lot of scientific research that is starting to come out about these. It's probably worth paying attention to. There's a lot of data that's they're starting to sort of scientifically collect it and collate it. And the three takeaways that I've gotten from my just listening to scientists over the last year or so is, number one, almost all the experiences are positive. Almost all the people who have a near-death experience stop being afraid of death, and almost all of them seem to start being afraid of suicide.
Okay. That's interesting. That is in stark contradiction to some other theories I've heard, like that the moon is a soul recycler and you get tricked into coming back, and that and that this experience here is only it's only for the archons to suck loosh off of us through our suffering and joy. I don't know, but I don't give a lot of stock to any of these theories because you can't. How could you possibly know, right?
Yeah, are we sure these just aren't? Well, okay, Dave. What about like how does this? I almost want to tie this into like DMT, right? Isn't that's the chemical that floods your brain?
Yes.
As you die,
yep.
Theoretically or supposedly. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know either. This is just what I've been told. They've been doing these extended DMT trips, right? And people are coming back and saying that they've been able to experience the same things as one another. How do you feel? Do you think that's somehow connected to any?
That does seem to be a phenomenon. There are certain pitches they'll hear and certain, I guess, like the elf people.
Yeah, they're having like interactions with the same kinds of beings, or like being able to see into other rooms that they shouldn't be able to see into.
It's an interesting phenomenon, to be sure. Like I mean, Terrence McKenna talks about the machine elves too. So I just think it's fascinating that here we have people seeing and experiencing the same thing. Like it's like this is an intelligent connection to something.
Well, hold on. Dave, does it say what these people saw, or is it just that it was a positive experience for them? Is there like a marketed...
Well, people see fairly different things. There's some commonalities, but there's also quite a bit of variety. One other takeaway that I had, though, in relation to what you're talking about, is that these NDEs are apparently quite a bit different from psilocybin experiences or DMT experiences, drug-related experiences.
Yeah, that's what I hear too. I hear there are some very small overlaps with the DMT thing and near-death experiences, but not so much with other psychedelics.
I have the sense that this is kind of an elephant in the room type thing, and people kind of like they say that when the early Aztecs first saw their first Spanish ships, they wouldn't admit that they'd really seen it. They wouldn't even admit it to themselves that they'd seen it. Right?
Because it's so different to their eyes, yeah.
Right, and I've heard the same claims about people who see UFOs that just see something absolutely unexplainable and right in front of them and just won't admit that they've seen it. I think the NDEs may be something like that. And now that we have scientific methods and the ability to really collect and process information a lot better than we used to, we're going to get a lot of data that's coming in that we really probably should be paying some attention to.
Yeah. Well, see, I have friends who have abused psychedelics a ton and like abused DMT a lot, and they've had near-death experiences, and they said all they saw when they went was black.
Oh.
And nothing.
Interesting.
So, and that to me, that's why they said they were an atheist, because they said they've died and it was just black.
I have an uncle that died and said that he saw one of the Mormon angels, and that the Mormon angel gave him a message about me, and and I don't know.
Do you remember what the message was?
No, I don't.
Interesting.
None of my family remembers either.
Huh.
But
must have been important.
I guess so.
Clean your room.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Jordan Peterson would tell us.
I think the angel he saw was Moroni, though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Moroni is supposedly the bringer of the new dispensation.
Of course, this uncle was never quite right after his so it was traumatic head thing that caused his death, and they were able to get him back. But I don't know actually that he was pronounced dead ever. He was in a coma, but
did they just pull the plug eventually?
No, he came back to somewhat functional.
Oh.
And that's when he told people his story about what he saw while he was in his coma or whatever.
With a subdural hematoma with a massive brain bleed.
Right. So who knows? But to me, something about reincarnation and the essence of what we are going on to something else, that sort of rings true to me. And so I kind of think that's the way it is. Of course, I don't know. I won't know until I, take that big leap into the whatever comes next.
There has been a claim that I guess for 20 or 30 years, there have been people who have been trying to do physical scientific research in emergency rooms, placing information that you would see if you were above your body. But you would only see it if you were above your body, kind of where an NDE is expected to be. And I don't think those experiments have turned up any proof or strong evidence in favor of NDEs, as I understand it. And the people who've experienced NDEs have claimed that these experiments are flawed because the kind of information they put up there for you is something you just wouldn't notice while you're in the middle of dying.
Yeah. Yeah, and a traumatic experience can cause coping mechanisms within your brain to alter reality, such as seeing ships that you shouldn't be seeing. So
yeah,
the brain's a tricky thing.
That's all I have.
All right, good call.
Thanks, Ridley. RidleyReport.com.
If
he needs a jingle.
Yep.
RidleyReport.com. There you go.
Or I won't do the ErnestHancock.com. But Dave called 603-283-6160 to talk to us here at Free Talk Live. I wrote a small thing that I would like to share with the audience. and kind of touches on what we started out with. I'll just get right into it. In the light of current social-political climate, I'd like to offer some words of encouragement. Today I'd like to talk about power. Power is the ability to affect change according to one's will. We look around and see those in command of vast amounts of it. We think they were better or luckier or given advantage by birth. We may think about what it would be like or what we might do given such power. But do we comprehend the source of that power? We might think that money is the source, but money is a make-believe concept. It only has value because we agree that it does. The value assigned to any given money is always the complicated sum of everyone's opinion on it. So maybe it's not exactly the money. Perhaps then, it could be social influence. A person with very little money could command great power if they had a great deal of influence. But what is influence? It's the ability to affect a public opinion, but the public opinion is made up by individuals. I suggest power is most potent in the hands of the individual. Throughout time, we see one individual or another rise up to become powerful enough to cause ripples through the ages. But where do these people get such power? The answer is they get us to hand it to them, whatever power we have. Instead of writing our own life scripts, we eagerly become the actors in someone else's. We say that they have written us a part that involves a moderate amount of comfort, and we jump right in. It's much easier than using imagination to write something better, especially after 15,000 hours of that being trained out of us in government schools. Giving our power over to a collective or an individual dilutes and disrespects the power we were given as birthright. I don't see any way to avoid the suffering and hardship that is coming unless a large number of us start to withdraw from the roles we've been complacently filling and start making progress towards something better. That means taking risks and going outside our comfort zone. Our instinct is usually self-preservation, but what is the good in preserving yourself for a cage? This is not a call to irrationality. We simply need to give less energy to those things that cause the kind of problems we as humans are experiencing, and to redirect it to things that bring lasting joy. I think most of us know at least a few big things we can change, though it may be difficult, in order to lessen the destruction and hatred we see so prevalent in the world today. Wars and taxes and tyranny only happen if we let them. Let's take courage and work on something better. Cheers.
That was really good. I enjoyed that.
I thought
Thank
so
you.
too. That was definitely really good.
Thank you. I hope it inspires somebody to, to write something or create something that inspires others, because that's
one thing
how we
that
get ahead.
The AI stuff just drives me nuts. Like, I'll be scrolling through YouTube looking for music to listen to, and it's all just computer generated slop. Like, none of it is.
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff
is a human made like
slop.
art.
Yeah,
and I just, to me, it might sound good, but I just I feel weird listening to it. Like, I want to listen to what other people have to create. Even if they use a computer to create it, it still has like that human input, right? That's their emotions that they're portraying, not an algorithm making notes that are pleasant.
And I'm okay with it in certain, like if you're making parody songs or something like that, extremely useful, and that's great. But
yeah, that's fun for sure.
But yeah, there's nothing that can replace human ingenuity when it comes to real art.
Yeah, the touch of soul. That's why I hate the brutalist, the postmodernist brutalist architecture that we've replaced everything with, like the whole steel glass building that's just a square that looks ugly everywhere. Everything looks the same. Like, they took the color and the creativity out of all of the architecture. Like, all the McDonald's are look like corporate offices.
They sure do.
Everything has to look uniform and look strong and powerful. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of that is
then again, what do I know?
By design to remove our minds from the state of nature that it's more comfortable in. If they remove us from that mental state of nature, then they're able to, catch us in our confusion and offer up security or, whatever the statement is that gets you on board.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about a little bit yesterday about Benjamin Franklin's quote about those who trade their liberties for securities deserve neither.
Yeah.
And it feels like we've already traded so many liberties. I mean, even I was a child during the Patriot Act. I was 1 year old. I had no say, and it feels like we traded so much away in the past 20 years that we don't even realize.
Oh, the good old Patriot Act that they wrote well in advance of 9/11 and just needed.
I remember when the Patriot Act came out.
Just
and we cheered
needed
that
a new
thing on.
Pearl Harbor to get it signed up.
Oh
right?
yeah, I remember America cheering for the Patriot Act, thinking it was the best thing ever. And then I started waking up around that time, 2004, 2005-ish, and was like, Patriot Act isn't as good as we think it is because it's allowing for warrantless wiretapping on American citizens. And I remember when the Democrats are all about opposing Patriot Act things, but, like the Republicans, they're cheering it on like we own America and we are going to surveil it to no end.
Well, that's the nature of the game. It's there's two teams. They're playing the same game. It's going the same. You're not going to come up with any different result than what the game does.
No, it's a stage.
Right.
And then they just hijacked the populist movement through Trump and Bernie Sanders. And they just, they just funneled all of that energy right back into the machine.
Yeah.
Anybody who thought they were going to get any different with those guys was sold a big bag of lies.
Well, I can't believe people get sold the same bag of lies so many times and keep purchasing, because this is how it goes. President's on his campaign trail. He says a lot of nice sounding things, and you're like, yeah, let's do that. And then he gets in office and he does a couple of them, and then he starts going, kind of veering off trail a little bit. And then he goes wildly off trail and does something like the Patriot Act. And you're like, wait a minute, this isn't what I wanted, but that's okay, because we'll get him next time. And then, you know what I mean? It just repeats and it repeats and repeats, and people get excited because we're going to have some change. But the only change you ever get is things get worse.
Angelo, I was thinking that, we live in a country where people want a savior, it seems like. They can't face reality. It's hard to face reality. It's tough. I mean, think about it. We live in a world where violence is one click away. Where we could see a man get his throat blown open with a gun and maybe think it's fake.
Yeah, well, I think the issue is the reality is that there is no. Yeah, everybody. Well, it's because we lack responsibility and integrity, and we're lazy. And that comes back to something I always hit on, is that humans are inherently lazy. We don't want to work. We don't want to do it for ourselves. If we had it our way, we would all sit in a castle and eat cheeseburgers until our hearts exploded.
We would.
And we wouldn't want to do any work.
Laziness and poverty are the natural conditions of humankind.
Yes, we are addicted to comfort.
Yes, we
so
are.
We're all looking for a savior. And that's what I was talking about yesterday with the only reason we're seeing this rise of fascistic things happening they've always had these elements, but the reason it's so blatant right now is because people are so terrified of communism and don't want to get up and do anything about it themselves. They'd rather just pawn all of the responsibility off to the federal government to fix the problem.
That's right. And not only that, but you have people that really ought to know better. One of the big hot topics right now in this country is Christianity, or Christians. And whether you feel one way or the other about them, they're told specifically that they are to serve one God and not multiple gods. And yet here they are, doing what their government says, even when it's in direct contradiction to what their heavenly God tells them to do.
Yes.
That's serving two gods. And I don't see how they square those two as being okay.
The evangelical sect of America, I think, is really they've co-opted a bunch of dumb, poor whites in the South to do whatever they want whenever they want. I don't even think like the hyper evangelicals. Somebody from the 1400s would be appalled at what the church has become. And I'm not saying like they're correct or anything, but it definitely seems like the doctrine is not followed at all.
Yeah, Well, certainly I think Jesus would be pretty sad if he looked at the state of Christianity, especially in America.
I think he'd be rather disappointed at who we've become.
What do you think? Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FS.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
This is Free Talk Live. It's talk radio you control. give us a call. The phone number is 603-283-6160. Get your thoughts and ideas on the air. Are you tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites? Our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley,
and Angelo.
Let's see here. Where? Sorry, I got caught unawares. Previously, we had a call from Dave Ridley, and he talked to us about near-death experiences. We talked a little bit about how we can use our personal power and not give it away. Otherwise, we've been sort of all over the board just talking about having a pretty good conversation. Like I said, you can jump in just by calling the phone number, which is 603-283-6160. Riley, you selling any bread still?
I'm still selling bread. I just haven't had any customers lately, so if you know when you're interested, let me know.
I'll buy you bread, Riley.
Okay,
You got a
excellent.
sourdough starter? What are you throwing down?
I'm working on. I've got a sourdough kit my sister sent me, so I'm gonna have to break that one out and do some sourdough bread.
Yeah, I'm down, bro. We should do bread bowls, bro. It's soup season.
Oh, we should.
It is major soup season.
That would be awesome,
bro. Yeah, we should do sour bread bowls, dude. I'll help. If you bake the bread, I'll whip up like a cheesy potato soup or something.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
We can do bread bowls.
Okay, let's do
That'd
it.
be sick.
That would be awesome.
Put on like a Halloween movie or something.
That'd be so cool.
Or, I don't know, a fall movie. A football movie? I don't know. What's a good fall time? What's a good fall theme
football
for movies?
movies.
Football movies are great. Halloween movies. I mean, that's there. It's too early. I don't want to bust out Christmas movies.
Yeah,
yet.
you don't bust that out until like mid-November or something.
It's like, post Thanksgiving.
Yeah, post Thanksgiving.
Post Thanksgiving. See, that drives. I feel like Christmas gets earlier and earlier. Like with Black Friday. Black Friday is the start of Christmas season in my head.
Yes, I agree with you
Anything
there.
before that is like, shut up. It's Thanksgiving.
Let's enjoy
and then,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're gonna have this holiday and then the next one. Quit putting up Christmas trees before Thanksgiving. This Thanksgiving erasure. Even if it's off a BS story about colonists, the root of the idea is to be thankful for what you have and to reconnect to those closest with you. And I think those are two things that we lack a lot of in today, especially in today's climate. So I think getting back with loved ones and sharing a good meal and talking and enjoying the people you love is super important.
And I think that's how our ancestors got through the cold, dark winters. They had each other. They shared stories. They shared, triumphs, and they shared dreams and visions and things that they wanted to have happen for their community. And that's what we've kind of lost with our social media, because we see everything and everybody, and we don't know how to connect anymore, it seems like.
Not physically. Yeah, why do we need to get together for Thanksgiving if we have Facebook updates all year? Or we can,
That's a good point.
But I think that face-to-face, that human, like real-time interaction, it's so much different. I remember trying to go to college on like Skype or Zoom. What is it, Zoom? I was trying to do college in Zoom right when 2020 hit. And trying to sit in my house, my apartment, on a FaceTime call with the college. Like, it's different. I didn't like it. That in person. I needed that in person. Like classroom time. Like I needed to be around other people. Like I needed that human interaction, that real bona fide human interaction. I think is super important.
Yep, it's there is definitely something not quite fully real about the internet world. There's a lot of funny stuff in there, though. I think that's why we keep going
and
back.
it seems like the
There's also a lot of
algorithm-
horrific stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like what is it? 70% of the internet's corn.
Yeah, well, that's why they call it doom scrolling too, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
I get stuck doing that.
So much of
Yeah, I don't
scrolling is
know.
just
I don't
like-
know if we're allowed to say that word on.
Oh,
the
we
radio.
are allowed to say porn on the radio.
Okay.
You can say porn
I
on
was
the radio.
I was TikTok censoring myself.
Yeah, don't TikTok censor yourself.
I was
here, bro.
TikTok censoring myself
Don't
with
do
the
that
corn
here, bro.
emoji.
But it's not an FCC restricted word.
No, it's not.
I just want to keep it friendly.
Yeah, me too.
For the most part, so I don't want to
We got a story here from CTV News, which Riley posted.
That's true. A reputable news source.
Reputable news source. THC levels too high. Health Canada recalls cannabis products. Health Canada is recalling a brand of cannabis gummy sold in several provinces due to inaccurate levels of THC. They say tetrahydrocannabinol, the main psychoactive compound in cannabis listed on the packaging. According to a Health Canada recall alert, packages of winter mint chillos cannabis extract and cinnamon chillos cannabis extract contain higher THC levels than what is stated on the pouch's label.
Oh.
Pouches? Are you like popping Zenners with THC in it now, dude? Oh my gosh. What is going on in Canada? What do you guys know that I don't? Hold on.
I think the package is a pouch. I don't think it's a Zen type.
Oh, I was about to be like, yo, the game has changed.
No, these are
we have just broken the code.
These are gummies that I think are supposed to be 10 milligrams. The recall products were sold in Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, and Ontario. The alert warns
so every state that has people.
The pouches in which the products were sold in contain over 10 milligrams of THC, and that there is significant unit-to-unit variability of THC levels between pouches. Buy those ones.
Yeah, it sounds like there should just be a run on those. What are you talking about? That just sounds like you're getting more product for your money. That sounds like a good deal.
It sounds like a really good deal.
Oh no, my steak is too juicy and my lobster's too buttery. Whatever will I do?
I know.
I better recall these.
THC.
A waiter.
So the elevated and inconsistent levels of THC in each pouch may make it difficult to make informed decisions regarding your cannabis use.
Well, inconsistent's scary. What if you got a dead pack? Yo, I'd be ticked.
Yeah.
You paid money and then you don't get anything out of it. That's like buying, I bought a pack of Heineken that were actually the non-alcoholic version.
Oh no.
But they're labeled as regular, right? You just got scammed.
Yeah.
So I mean, irregular. If it's irregular on the positive end, I say go for it. But this sounds like I could be getting screwed on the back end, and I don't want that.
Yep, but I don't know. The way this article or the way this warning is written doesn't sound like it went that way.
Sounds very good. Sounds like they just
sent out some very potent
just spilled it onto the tray. Oops. Almost like a superhero beginning. They knocked over all the test tubes into the vat.
Yeah. This may lead to over-intoxication and temporary adverse health consequences associated with THC overdose.
You'll get hungry and fall asleep.
THC overdose.
Maybe throw up.
Maybe throw up a little bit. Maybe fall asleep. Maybe feel terrified.
Some symptoms could include confusion, disorganized thinking, physical and mental impairment, anxiety, fear or panic, decreased blood pressure, elevated heart rate. Yeah, I guess.
Well, I guess if you start freaking out because you're too high, then you'll get an elevated heart rate.
Yeah, I've experienced that. The
terror,
anxiety.
Yeah, I just call it the terror. If I name it, I can make it go away. Yeah. Give it a name, and I can
name it to tame it. So they say.
Yeah, I named it. It's the terror, and it just happens, and you just got to get over it.
Yeah, it's just paranoia. It's all right.
The last time it happened to me was my first legal purchase of cannabis in Nevada, and I was just way too high, and I had to sit there and mentally get myself through that one, but I got through it.
I try to do it once every 6 months just to remind myself I'm still human. Just a little bit of reach out there, touch the void, see if it touches back.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Because I don't want to do it. Like, acid is just so intense. You know, it's just such an intense
never done
experience.
Acid, but I've heard it's a 12-hour trip. And
it's a commitment.
No, it's a 100% a commitment. Like, into the next day, dude, it's a lot.
That sounds like a lot.
And if you take too much, you extend it. So, some people have taken so much they're gone for a week.
Ooh.
Which is just, I feel like, being in that state for that long, you just fry your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not coming back from that.
Unless you're well mentally equipped for it.
If you're ready, and maybe if you're a psycho,
I think I could come out the other side okay. But
like a week-long acid trip, not ayahuasca, not like a planned peyote trip in the desert, but like somebody just hits you with a dropper and you're not ready for it and you just get thrown into a 5-day roll.
Involuntarily dosed in the last 5 days, that might be tough.
Yeah.
That might have a lasting negative effect.
Yeah.
But I do recommend people try acid if they're curious and they've never done it, because why not? It might change your mind. You might change your life. And
no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just heavy. It's a heavy commitment.
It is a commitment. Yes.
And if you do it in the wrong space and you don't know what you're doing, you can really, you could hurt yourself emotionally.
And also do your research. Go to Airwood, and psychedelic trips are all about dose, set, and setting. So take the right amount, be in the right place, and have your mind in the right place. And everything should go A-okay.
Forcing it is when you'll have the worst time.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through the process. It's going to be okay. I mean, it might feel tough in the moment. You might feel a lot of anxiety. You might feel like you're losing your mind. Just let it go.
You're not dying.
You're going to be fine.
Yep.
You're really not dying.
The only problems I ever had on a psychedelic trip was being around people that I wasn't real stoked on. And otherwise, no problems. It was a good experience the whole way through. Even though it does get old after about 8 or 9 hours of.
Oh yeah, you get to the point where I'm laying on the bed, I look at the TV, incomprehensible.
Yeah,
look at the wall,
fractals and everything,
it's still falling apart. Look back at the TV, incomprehensible. It was like, okay, I get it. I get it. Can I just be normal again? I understand what you were trying to tell me. Can I move on? Mm-hmm. I understand the wisdom I was supposed to. And
then you feel
reflect.
like, okay, good, it's finally over. And you lay down, you close your eyes, and it all starts over again. And you're like, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah, your body will be drained for sure.
This article continues. In some cases, THC overdose can also lead to psychotic episodes characterized by paranoia, delusion, or hallucinations. Anyone in possession of these recalled products is asked to stop using them, return them to the store where they were bought, or dispose of them safely and away from where children or youth might access them.
I mean, if they were too strong for me, I might just cut them in half and not dispose of them because, I don't want to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. At that point, you should just eat them all and see what happens.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
that sounds like an intense night.
I could see how this might be annoying to somebody, but certainly not dangerous. And
maybe if you're like an old person.
And not dangerous enough to warrant government taking action and putting out an official statement. I mean, it probably cost them $20,000 just to make a statement, because that's how governments do things. And what's the worst that's going to happen? Somebody's going to get paranoid or, a little bit confused for a little bit. They know. They just took a weed gummy. They're going to sit down and get through it. This is not a big deal. The amount of weed you would have to eat in order to kill you is basically impossible to put into your stomach.
You'd fall asleep way before.
Oh, yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of real danger going on here.
Maybe if you got behind the wheel, but I mean, that's the same thing with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get behind the wheel. Don't leave your house. You'll be fine.
Yep. And know your drugs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Know your tolerance for them. And if you have a low tolerance, maybe you don't take the ones that that got you way too high last time. And sorry it did, but you got through it, I'm pretty sure.
And if you didn't, oh well.
You might be the first.
Yeah.
To not make it
I
through.
do know that there is it's a genetic predisposition with schizophrenia that too much THC can cause
I have a theory
that to happen.
I have a theory on this. I think schizophrenia exists in most people.
Do you think it's a mind virus?
But it's highly controlled. No, it's just what happens when you have cognitive dissonance. You develop a schizophrenia, because schizophrenia is just being of multiple minds. And so in order to hold contrary viewpoints and to operate, we develop a condition which is controlled schizophrenia. When it gets out of control, that's when you just call it schizophrenia, and it gets pretty weird at that point. But I think cannabis so Bob Marley said it shows you to yourself. And to me, that means that it shows you aspects of yourself from a different point of view than you usually look at yourself.
Well, that's what all these psycho
and that might trigger your underlying controlled schizophrenia to come out in a way that you can no longer control it, or no longer have a desire to control it. Because you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I think they claim that it can cause schizophrenia. And
I think I know Freud's a charlatan and everything we know about.
Oh, that guy was bad.
Yeah, he was an evil man. It was all just a cover to do the dirty with kids. No, Freud. Everything we know about psychoanalytics is a lie, and it's professional gaslighting.
I understand where you're coming from, but
hot pile of garbage.
I also think that Freud was really influential in the psychology field, and hopefully we've gotten a little better in the psychology field.
No, we haven't. That's what I'm saying. It's like Freud everything he did was a lie. It was all BS. Yeah, it's all built around.
Started us off on a road that was going to lead to a dead end.
Yeah, it was all built around hiding his friends from doing horrible things to kids.
Yeah.
So how do we improve the psychology field then?
I think you have to scrap pretty much everything that's been built upon, because it's built upon lies. Every major mental health study that's been done in the past 100 years cannot be replicated. They're unreplicatable studies. So they get posted and they become accepted as fact after 20 years, and then somebody goes back and tries to redo the study. They can't replicate the findings. Everything we know is built upon pillars of lies. And it feels like everything, the older I get, the more I'm seeing that everything I've ever thought ever has been built upon pillars of lies.
Yeah. No wonder why people debate psychology being a science or not.
It's a quackery. It's more of a quackery than who are the guys who pop your back? Chiropractors.
Yes, they actually do something.
Yeah. At least the cracking feels good for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. Pause. My Gen Z brain. Anyways, where was I? God dang it! I just ruined my thought process.
We were just talking about what kind of rubbish the psychological health system is.
Yeah. It is all garbage.
I will say that I delved into some psychology classes about 10 years ago and really enjoyed studying the subject. I found a lot of useful information about psychology.
Because it's all gaslighting, dude. The only thing they taught me in psychology class was how to manipulate people. It's all predicated off your ability to manipulate somebody. That's all
a lot of it is.
Therapy is.
If you can translate that, though, and figure out how to use it to manipulate your own psychology, that's where it can be beneficial.
Yeah, that's fun. But most people turn around and use it to manipulate others. My degree's in communications, so a lot of that is just sociology and psychology put together in a way to where I can win the situation as it's all set up to make you work for Fortune 500 companies and work in arbitration cases, right? It's how do we get the most out of you while making you think that you're still winning. Is everything psychology and my communications and sociology classes taught me, which is that it's really just a bunch of it's just manipulation. How do you manipulate somebody into getting what you want? And I was like, well, that's kind of dirty. Why can't we just work together towards a common goal? And they're like, compromise is a dirty word. They tell you that.
Yeah.
Compromise is a dirty word. If you're not winning, then you're not doing it right. And that's the mindset that people go into the world with these days.
Mm-hmm. And that's right. And then you have people like Aldous Huxley coming along and taking Freud stuff to a whole nother level of insanity. And
Brave New World was a good dystopian book, though.
Yeah, Freud's nephew, Edward Bernays, who wrote the book Propaganda and tricked us all into thinking that bacon and eggs were breakfast food.
Huh.
Yeah, that was a whole... Do you know about breakfast being a psyop, Riley?
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh. In the early 1900s, they did something, the Farming Commission and the government kind of got together and were like, we have all these pigs and chickens and we don't know what to do with them. So they came up with this whole idea of breakfast being the most important meal of the day and that you need a bunch of protein to start your day with like bacon and eggs. And they had this huge propaganda push to get people to start buying breakfast foods in the early 1900s. Wow. Yeah, it's all a lie.
Interesting.
All a lie.
So what did people eat for breakfast in like the 1850s?
Like
though?
cold cereal.
Or like toast and coffee.
Yeah. Like my great grandma, I asked her, and she grew up in the 30s in Canada with no power on an apple orchard.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd probably have a slice of bread with a great deal of butter.
Yeah, they had bread and butter, or they had if it was hot outside, they'd have cold cereal, cold shredded wheat, and if it was cold outside, they'd have hot shredded wheat, and that was their breakfast every morning. It was like porridge. They would just have porridge.
Yep. Edward Bernays also made it popular for women to smoke. With he called them freedom torches and organized a march of women smoking, which was taboo at the time.
I know about this one too. Yeah. There's so much. And if you want to get, and if you really want to get into it, these guys are all Fabians too. They're all Fabian socialists, which is an extension of Marxism and Trotskyism and Leninism. Are the Fabians?
Right. Their logo is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Where does Francis Bellamy fit into this picture? Because I know he was a socialist as well, and he wanted to, make everybody think the same by having a pledge of allegiance to a flag.
I haven't done a lot of study on Bellamy, tell you the truth. I know that there was some good pictures of American youth saluting the flag with kind of an upside down, Sieg Heil sort of thing with the outstretched arm, except they did it palm up, so it was a little bit different, but
okay,
basically the same kind of idea. That used to be how you salute the American flag.
Oh, that's what?
Yeah.
You didn't know about the Bellamy salute?
No, dude. I just covered my heart like a good little kindergartner and looked at the flag on top of the whiteboard.
Man, this thing has gone through a lot of evolutionary.
Yeah. So when you were kids, did you guys do like weird Nazi salutes?
No, we did not.
So did you cover your hearts like normal?
We covered our hearts, of course.
That would have been like my great grandfather, I think, probably did.
Probably in around the 1900s when they started, and the Pledge of Allegiance was implemented. That's probably when they were doing it. Yeah. And then after World War II, they dropped it.
Yeah.
Then they added Under God in 1955.
Yeah, maybe my grandpa might have seen that in his very young school days, but
I wish I could talk to him. I can't ask my great grandma grew up in Canada. I was trying to talk to her about like how I just moved here and I was in Salem, Massachusetts the other day with all the witch trials, and I was talking about Giles Corey. Giles Corey's a stud. He's the guy who got crushed with the rocks, right? Yeah. So by him saying more weight and him not saying yes or no to his charges, he saved his land for his sons. If you really look into the Salem witch trials, it was all a hodgepodge job in order to get all of these people's land into this rich man's hand. That's all it was. And it was him defeating a tyrant by skirting the law by only saying more weight, so his family got to keep his land and it didn't go into the hands of the state.
Now that's an activist
on his
right
death.
there.
Yeah, 100%. All he said was more weight. Giles Corey is the man. And I was trying to talk to my great grandma about this, and she was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I grew up in Canada. We learned like British history." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you didn't go over any of this stuff in your schools, like your elementary school. You don't know any of the stuff I'm talking about." And she was like, "Nope," and she doesn't care. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even think about her not learning like the stuff I did, just living, 30 minutes from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho."
Mm-hmm.
And I almost feel like, did she get more of the propaganda or did she miss out on it? Are the Canadian schools not just as more, if not more so, co-opted? I guess everything was different in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, life was definitely different back then.
Yep, a lot simpler, a lot more Andy Griffith and Mayberry.
Still a Prussian school teaching system, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they were working hard on it. They had gotten the Federal Reserve through, and they were about to do some real bad stuff. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Tired of the ever-inflating US dollar? You can live your life on Dash instead with some handy websites. BitRefill.com has been accepting Dash for years and has a ton of big-name retailers and brands including grocers, gas stations, phone refills, Amazon, and even prepaid MasterCards. Plus, many of their gift cards are available at a discount. But what about paying your bills? Spritz.finance can do that, and they can send dollars to your bank account in case you still need those for some reason. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, was sentenced to more than 4 years in jail on prostitution charges in New York on Friday. Diddy was found guilty of the crimes in July which relate to incidents the 55-year-old arranged called freak-offs at hotels across America. FSN's Mitch McCann has more from New York.
On Friday, prosecutors told the judge that Combs should receive a sentence of 135 months in jail, more than 11 years, and argued that he lacked remorse. They asked the judge to consider the long-term effects on the women involved. Lawyers for Combs argued he had learned his lesson. One defence attorney became tearful, telling the court that Combs is now clear-headed, determined, focused and remorseful. Addressing the court himself, Sean Combs described his behaviour as disgusting, shameful and sick. He said because of his decisions, he lost his freedom and the opportunity to be there for his mother and his children. Eventually, the judge sentenced Combs to 50 months and also imposed a $500,000 fine. In his address, the judge said a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which shows you abuse the power and control over the lives of women who you profess to love.
The U.S. government shut down for the first time in almost 7 years after members of Congress failed to agree a last-ditch funding deal. FSN's Charlotte North has more from Washington.
Efforts in the Senate to keep the government funded fell short late on Tuesday despite frenetic negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke this morning after funding was cut off.
At midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices.
The way forward is unclear as both sides have blamed the other for the shutdown. The White House is telling agencies to prepare plans for mass firings.
Those were some of the week's top stories.
Jack Daniels announced today its plan to start marketing directly to children, adding, quote, "Why not?" Executives for the whiskey company told reporters that they've already slated dozens of television spots showing 10-year-old children drinking tumblers of Jack and Coke in playgrounds, and that the company was planning on, quote, "just seeing how it all played out."
Every year, Jack Daniels sells millions of dollars of great American whiskey to men and women all over the world. So, for our next ad campaign, we basically just thought, hey, why not just start marketing this stuff straight to 10-year-olds? I mean, if they catch us, but we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully we can sell some alcohol along the way. Sure, some parents groups could get upset, especially if we go with our idea of moms serving their kids cranberry Jack at snack time. But
in other news, a doomed rabbit will teach an 8-year-old a lesson about responsibility, and a torrent of soap issues from a wildly unexpected part of the dispenser. Well, that was it. It's all downhill from here, bud. For more, visit theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network. Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Talk radio you control. Give us a call, get your thoughts and ideas on the air. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley,
and Angelo.
We've got a caller on the line, so we're going to go straight to the phones. On-screen caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Oh, hey, thanks for taking my call. I have two things on my mind. One should be really an easy, quick question, but the other one, not so much. I was thinking about universal health care, and then, like government universal health care or something. And then the other one being I think most libertarians don't want a government-run healthcare system, but the alternative seems like for people who can't afford it is starting a GoFundMe, which doesn't really seem too appealing. So I just kind of want to know what your thoughts are on that.
I've got thoughts on this.
Yeah, and then the other one, real quick, would be, would you have any recommendations for somebody wanting to start their own business, considering that there's tons of rules and regulations? You can't even set up a lemonade stand or mow lawns without having like a, some sort of permit or something. Like, how would you?
How about you don't get the permit?
Yeah.
How about you just don't get the permit? There you go.
And then, well, I've seen people, you see that, you always hear the story, someone sets up a lemonade stand or something, like a kid sets up a lemonade stand and the cops show up and
But that's what civil disobedience is all about. You got to do it in mass numbers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there are some things that kind of fall in this area of not being licensed. I know a story of a guy that lived in Long Island, of all places, and started a dog walking business and went to look into getting a permit or a license for it, and they told him they didn't offer any such thing. And so he just did his dog walking thing without any special permissions, and everything was okay. So if you find a niche that's, kind of out of the realm of all that, then you can fly under the radar pretty good.
I think some of my friends do like sealant, like resealing concrete, like pavement driveways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need a license for that. Not, at least not in Idaho, where one of my buddies sold everything he owned to buy the trailer, like the tar trailer, so he could just start resealing people's driveways.
Mm-hmm.
And he just does that himself. It's his own business. He does it, works when he wants. I don't even think he's paying taxes on the stuff he's making right now. So I won't lay out his name.
Mm-hmm.
But he's working for himself. So I mean, there's some labor jobs that you could probably get away with not being licensed, like power washing. I don't think you need a license to be like power washing houses or driveways.
Yep. As far as starting an establishment type business and not asking permission, some people have tried with varying rates of success the idea of public or private membership associations, or PMAs. And this is an idea that if you're operating in the private, then the public has no business poking their nose into what you're doing.
So almost like Sam's Club.
Kind of, yes. But different. Right after all the smoking bans went through in Utah, there were a couple of like restaurants and coffee shops and stuff that still allowed smoking, but they became private clubs for members. All the strip clubs were private clubs for members. And so you had to essentially give them your name, and then you're part of the club, and then you're allowed to do things which aren't technically legal in Utah. And so some people have had success with that, and other people not so much. And I think it's a matter of, I don't know, it's partially a matter of luck, which bureaucrat you're going to end up going up against. And it's also a matter of how well you have your ducks in a row and know what you're talking about. You don't go in there and tell them, well, I heard this idea from this guy and I don't really know how it works, but you got to do your own research.
There'd be as far as research goes, do you think there'd be anybody who's done something like this before? Like, they set it up, or even just break down how to go about.
Yeah, there's a guy, I forgot if it was in Arizona or Texas, that a guy opened a supermarket and a liquor store under PMA rules and didn't ask any permissions. And the bureaucrats came after him right away, but he kept operating and was dealing with the litigation part of it. And I never followed up to find out how that went. So there is some precedent that could be looked into for research.
But there's also you got to know your, what are the laws where you live? Because it's going to differ. I mean, even your city ordinances could be different than anywhere else's.
Yep. Yeah, that type of thing is going to fly a lot better in Arizona or Texas than it would in Massachusetts, for example. So those are some things.
Okay.
So what about the first part? The healthcare?
The healthcare
universal healthcare or government-ran healthcare. Yeah.
This is a subject. That
your only other option if you're broke, really, is to set up like a GoFundMe, right? And that doesn't seem right. I mean, what if nobody funds you?
So as a person,
don't deserve healthcare, or what?
As a person who runs medically uninsured and looks at the cash option anytime I need medical care, I first look at the alternatives, anything that's not within the medical establishment, because I know that's going to cost way too much. If I need, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I got a small piece of metal lodged into my eye, and it was stuck in there good. I couldn't get it out, and my wife wasn't going to do it, and so I knew I was going to have to get a doctor to do it. So I went into the emergency room, and he took it out, and I forgot what the bill was. I think it's like $1,800 to take a little piece of metal out of my eye, which is offensive. And that's the reality we live in. The reason it got that way is because the health insurance companies just set arbitrary prices on things, and they can basically set the price of anything within the medical system at whatever they want it to be. And they have perverse incentives for doing so.
Well, and this comes off the back of like the companies are forced to give you health care. So like they're forced to exist. It's propped up by
it's a mandated company, and that's how they get away. Company. That's how they get away with just setting the prices of things, and because they've been given this mandate from the government.
Yeah, so if you think the government isn't going to set their prices at the same spot, they're just going to make it. If you look at all these public, especially right now, like the NHS in England is having a very rough time. They're very low on funding. People in Canada on their single payer health system are just being offered euthanasia instead of actual help with their problems. So it almost feels like you're. Do you want the government executing you because you're too expensive to treat, or do you want to have the option to have a GoFundMe?
That's what it gets to if you keep asking for their help. So even though the options are grim on this one, you either find a doctor that's a friend and will treat you under the table, or you just suck it up and you find your own cures for things, and maybe you die early. But none of us gets out of this place alive anyway. So I don't know. It's a tough one. Because because not only that, but those guys are responsible for killing more people than they're probably save anyways. And a lot of times you go in there for a thing that they could tell you to just stop doing this and you'd get all better. But instead they put you on a drug, but that one's going to have some side effects, so they got to put you on another drug to control those side effects, and then they got to put you on a third drug just because the doctor needs to keep his boat. And the whole thing is so corrupt that it's ridiculous. And if you do have to pay an emergency room visit out of pocket, it's still going to be way less than the amount that you paid for insurance in the years leading up to it. Even if you have a job where where you get the standard deal for a group benefit plan, these things are not cheap. For if you got a couple of kids and a wife, you're looking at $500 a month or something, and that adds up fast. $1,800 to go visit the emergency room because I had to get something taken out of my eye, and that's my only encounter with the medical system in like 10 years. I call that pretty good. I'm saving money.
All right. Well, have a good one.
Yep.
All right, thank you for the call.
Thanks for the call.
I think the answer, we may not know the answer on how to fix things. That's why we have this show, so we can talk about ideas.
Right. We don't have all the answers.
I do know
here.
the answer is not more government.
Freedom.
The answer is never more government.
Freedom's the answer. What is the question?
Indeed.
That's what we have to say. Freedom's the answer. What is the question?
Yep. Good old Ernest Hancock. We've got another caller on the line. On the screen, caller. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Oh, this is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, ever since like 20 years ago, New Mexico has been turned completely blue, like solid blue. And I think that I had a lot to do with it because that's when I started to do get the vote out. And I started just doing phone banking. But I think I would maybe at the most call about 100 people or 120 people during the election time just to get the Democrats out. And that was enough to turn it blue. And ever since I've been working on the campaign, we've been electing more Democrats.
Sure. Do you do this stuff because you like what Democrats do, or do you do this stuff because the Democrats are your team?
Well, I definitely align more with the Democrat. I happen to actually believe
do you
in
like
voting.
But do you like all the stuff they do?
Actually,
be honest.
A lot of the stuff I do not like it.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they kind of baffle me. They don't make much sense, but.
Unless they're all
90%.
working for the same team and they just gave you two teams, it's all one game and they gave you two teams to pick from.
Yeah, so it's what you see, especially a lot of people especially the mayor election, people just gave up because here in Albuquerque, we always had the same homeless problems. We always had the same crime problems. No matter who the what was a mayor, it's about the same. So everybody's like, well, it's just a waste of my time because nothing, it's always been this way, no matter who was what. And so they just pretty much, like a low turnout. But for me, the people that do believe in voting, they do that. They see a difference.
So wait, Sarah.
Make a difference.
Yeah, it sounds like is New Mexico?
Yeah.
Do you think New Mexico is getting better?
Well, I really do think so because we had a special session. It turns out like the Democrats they had 2 days to just wham everything through, and there was only like 3 to 5 Republicans to stand out in their way. So we get a lot of Democratic agenda passed through because we get the voters turnout.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about agendas and bills being passed. Is the daily life in New Mexico, is life in New Mexico getting better? Or is it getting worse?
Well, I feel that it is getting better.
In what ways is it getting better?
Is it safer? Do you think it's safer in New Mexico now than it was 20 years ago? Is it cleaner?
You know, it feels about the same. That's what I'm talking about. The homeless problem, encampment, and the crime, it's always been about the same. But I do see a little bit more improvement.
Why do you think it's about the same, Sarah?
Excuse me, like a road diet. You got speeding cameras.
So those are technological advances. I mean, those don't necessarily weren't like even an option 25 years ago to have high quality, low cost speed trap cameras. So you think your quality of life has increased in the past 20 years?
Yes, I think so. But what I'm saying is my ego is tied to this election because I feel that ever since I came here, the felons could vote when they come out of jail. We got the same day registration, same day voting. Now they're voting on the Saturdays. Now they built a $1 billion new county clerk office. I just see all these things happen. And, before I came here, it used to be like, we had a big question mark. Is it Republican or Democrat? Nobody knew because every 4 years they'd get a Bush and then we get a Democrat president. It was like flip-flopping. Nobody knew what was going on here. But ever since I got in with the elections here, it became really solid blue. And we sent 3 Congress people that are Democrats. And our roundhouse is all Democrats took over. And overall, I do think life is better. We have a better homeless shelter.
You have a better homeless shelter. But then you were just complaining about how the homeless problem hasn't really changed. So they built a big $1 billion building, but then you're saying that the problem is the same. So I mean, sure, there's a nice building to look at, but the problem is the same.
Yeah, this is what I'm.
Encampment. But if I winded up being homeless, and if I was to stay at the Gateway Center, it's like 100,000 times better than what the Republican mayor had left behind, which was where there are no washing machines. They'll throw you out if you wash your clothes in the shower or in the sink. They throw you out. It used to be a jail that turned into a homeless shelter, and right now it was formerly a hospital. So it has a cafeteria, a full kitchen. It has washing machines, it has little rooms, and that's when they turn into a homeless shelter. So I feel that more of the homeless people will get off the streets and stay over there.
But have they?
Well,
you feel like they would. You keep predicating all your decisions off feelings, and it feels like there's not a lot of facts getting thrown around. You keep feeling like these things are going to happen if we do this, but then they're not.
Well, what the thing is that they're addicted. If people are high on drugs and want to drink, they cannot stay there. You have to be sober. So all the people that wants to be junkie, they have to stay out. So those people are going to be in the alleyways. So you're right. Facts. I mean, how can you track every homeless? Can you go out and count underneath the riverbed? Or, I mean, how can you, they're not in like a complete address. How can you track how many people stayed at the shelter? They can only take numbers of how many people stay there. So it does not completely eliminate. It just feels like it's a more favorable place for the homeless people to go there. So, I'm just assuming that even though it looks like it's all the same, it has helped. But you're right. I don't have like a complete data and fact, because how can you count like how many people living behind this bush and that tree over here?
You can see how much money you can see how much money you've spent over time, and if you feel safe walking alone at night. And if those two things aren't, the more money you spend and the more unsafe it gets at night, it feels like you're not fixing the problem.
Yeah, and I'm all for helping. I'm all for helping the homeless people too, because it breaks my heart to see people out in the cold with nowhere to go. It's unfortunate. A lot of those people, especially the ones who become junkies, they kind of chose it for themselves, and they kind of chose it for themselves because of all the restrictions on the things they could otherwise do that they're told they can't do now because, government.
Well, I don't know if this homeless shelter has all of the social workers right, and they copied this after San Antonio. So they don't throw the homeless people all over town, and the schedules and the buses, the sobering place, the social worker, the housing place, the medical department, they're all set up inside the shelter. So they don't have to be running around they cannot keep appointments. So I have a feeling that this will help the homeless people do want to sober up. They have a alcohol or drug rehab program set up with them. People that come to the homeless, you need help. They have agency that they could hook them up with, their homes and sobering centers.
Yeah, these are good things, Sarah, but they could all be achieved with cooperation through individuals. People that are passionate about this could easily afford it, and it would cost 1/3 what the government spends on it. And there's just really no need to ask for government to do these things when we could just do them. That's the way I feel about it, though.
This is how it's panned out. So this is Tim Keller is our mayor, so this is his project, and I'm really proud that he was the first one to do the Albuquerque community service places where it frees up the police. He's the first one that started it.
The mayor is just kind of a celebrity that doesn't really do a whole lot. The county recorder that you mentioned earlier has a whole lot more power than your mayor does.
In some communities, yes, but I will say that when my dad was mayor of Ivins, it was a small town, and I know he put in a lot of work in building a community, so every mayor is going to be different.
Yeah.
Well, Albuquerque, we have a strong mayor. We used to have a weak mayor where they're just like, where they come in to break the tie. But, I think, I don't know, that's the way it used to be, like a weak mayor. I was told that Las Cruces and Rio Rancho, they still have a weak mayor.
Yeah, what I'm saying is they have positions that don't get as much attention that have more power. And so people are less educated about the vote on that. And they end up voting in somebody who is, maybe not who they thought it was. Like, they didn't pay as much attention to the important votes, I guess I should say. The game is set up that way. It's always got you looking at the wrong thing.
The counselors here, they either go along with the mayor in support of it, or they go against the mayor. But the mayor is the one. Once it makes up to the mayor, he makes the final decisions. So we have a strong mayor. We're very executive. Okay. But I do get this spaced out. Like, people just want to be like just spaced out. Like, I don't want to know anything. It's just too much work. You have to really follow what there are 6 candidates running.
They do that on purpose, Sarah.
Out.
They don't want you to. They don't want you to know how it works. They don't want you to know what fractional reserve lending is. They don't want you to know, how the entire system works. They give you a cartoon in school and tell you, "I'm just a bill on the Capitol steps." Thanks for the call, Sarah. None of it works the way they tell you that it works. It's all corruption of money and backroom deals, and it's a good old boys club, like George Carlin said. It's one big club, and you're not in it. Give us a call, 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
You can help more people hear the message of liberty by joining Free Talk Live's AMPS program on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. And you'll get access to special perks. Visit amps.freetalklive.com, amps.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. There's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
This is Free Talk Live. It's talk radio you control. You can get your thoughts and ideas on the air by calling 603-283-6160. I'd like to thank Dennis for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Dennis went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks again to Dennis and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley,
and Angelo.
And we're going to go to the phones. That is the point of this show.
Indeed.
On the screen caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's the real McCoy.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother?
Not much. Do you guys hold Dash?
A very small amount. I like Dash.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah. If I come across it, I might hold it. I see that it's gone up recently quite a bit. It's been making some moves in the market.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it's gone up like $15 or something, right?
Went from $20. Now it's currently at $35.
Yeah, $15 increase. Yeah, I sold all mine like last week before it spiked. Yeah,
I was trying to find out why that happened, but couldn't see anything.
I think everybody's just terrified. I think there's just a run on crypto right now.
Well, I don't know. Like some of the other related coins didn't see similar pumps, so it seems like, I don't know, maybe just somebody with a lot of coin bought in, but with like a lot of Bitcoin converted into Dash or something like that. It's hard to tell a lot of times what spikes a price.
I only have like surface knowledge of cryptocurrency projects in general, but I guess I would definitely take a grain of salt with my CoinMarketCap's AI giving news as to why it pumped. I guess it has something to do with part of it being privacy, and it might have a partnership with something called NYMVPN. Beats me. I don't know. I've been trying to find anything I could to figure out why all of a sudden it just decided to pump. And then I'm wondering,
is Dash's encryption better than Bitcoin's? If it's about privacy, it might be some private.
Their immutability is better. It runs the same encryption scheme.
Makes sense.
Dash is technically a fork of Bitcoin, but it added some privacy features and whatnot, which they don't push as hard anymore. But it's probably the fastest coin I think that I've used, the fastest and most reliable. I really like it. It's good, and it's got a governance system called a DAO. It was the first instance of a decentralized autonomous organization that actually worked. And the way that works is if you buy 1,000 Dash and you stake them, or you lock them up in a node, then that becomes a master node with voting rights on certain. You can vote on proposals and changes to the code if you run a master node. So
it's like the Green Bay Packers, but for Bitcoin.
I don't know anything about
the Packers. They're the only publicly owned team. You can buy a share of the Green Bay Packers. And,
really?
Yeah, and you can technically go to the great meeting they have in Green Bay every year. And I think it's like the top 500 people get like a vote, but you can technically invest in the Packers if you want to. I know a lot of fans do that.
Well, I don't know, guys. Might be a good time to load up on Dash.
It might be. It might be a very good opportunity. And a good
might have been a good idea 2 weeks ago.
Seems like more than that, it's a good time to not be loaded up on US dollars.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because gold's doing well, silver's doing well.
Silver's doing really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, silver's on fire, which is that's been a long time coming. I'm not surprised at all to see the price moving on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the run on Dash, but the answer is to get out of US dollar.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, that's all I called for, just to let you guys know.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks
for the call.
Thanks for the call. We can
At
go
least you know
to
he's the real McCoy.
the real McCoy.
Yeah.
We go to the next caller on the screen. Caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Since Riley thinks freedom is the answer to all questions, let me ask again. At what age?
Hold on there. Riley.
Yes.
Do you think that freedom is the answer to all questions? Let's just make sure that that's a correct premise.
Well,
starting off on.
I did at one point during the show say that freedom is the answer. What is the question?
Mm-hmm.
So are you
so it
standing
sounds
on
like-
that? Are you standing 10 toes on that, Riley?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay. I think I think I'm pretty firmly in that basket with you. Okay. Skater, go ahead. Continue.
Hey, don't put me on mute because I can't hear.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, he can't hear us because his radio's turned down.
Let's see. He said, "Don't put him on mute because he can't hear."
Or
now.
All right, go ahead, Skater.
Yeah. Don't put me on mute because I can't hear. I can't.
I'll
barely
put you
hear
on mute
anything.
anytime I want to.
Right now something's malfunctioning. Like sometimes this happens when you put me on mute. Only sometimes, like it hasn't happened in a while, but I can't hear anything now. Right now on this call. So
Well,
if
you might
put
want
me
to see
on
a
mute,
doctor if your hearing is totally shot because of a phone call.
it's something wrong. It's something wrong with your system. Like it does this once in a while.
Oh.
Like sometimes when you put me on mute, I can hear you guys clearly.
Maybe you should find a different
but
show to
other
blather
times-
your nonsense to.
Well, I'm here to destroy libertarianism, and
You
it's
haven't
working
destroyed it
because
yet,
you guys
dude.
Fail every question. Yeah, all you guys do is put me on mute and,
It's not even that.
hang up on me.
It's not
so
even
you
that
don't give
hard
me a
to
chance.
destroy
So here.
libertarianism, but you're
Look,
not
you
even
already,
good
You
at it.
already interrupted my call. You already interrupted my call 2 seconds, 1 second in. Let me talk, right? Since Riley thinks freedom is the answer to all questions, which you interrupted, and he confirmed already, I could barely hear that. At what age can a baby own a fully automatic Uzi, Riley? What age can do fentanyl? When can they transition?
I
to
don't get
another
to decide
sex?
those things, Skeeter.
I would say a
Yeah,
baby
what's
is
the
not
answer?
capable
What's your answer?
of doing those things.
The answer is freedom, right? The answer is freedom. You let the baby decide when he can own an Uzi.
I don't think a baby can.
You let 8 year
physically.
You
I
let
don't think they're capable.
You let 8-year-old Tay run her OnlyFans site, right? That's freedom. She can make a living.
I don't know
She
who
can
that
support
is.
herself.
Do-
She can become.
What do her parents think about that?
Yeah, what do her parents think about that?
What about Daniel Bergoli?
I don't know who that is either.
What's your face?
What does his parents think about
I mean-
that? That's what I want to know.
Anyway, but look, when can an adult own a nuclear power plant next to an elementary school? When can you eat a baby? Lifeboat scenarios, trolley car scenarios. Can people freely feed bears in the full libertarian experiment grafted? Freedom, right? Freedom. Freedom answers these questions.
It does.
Freedom
It still answers
is
those
not the answer.
questions.
It's the answer to the question. So 8-year-olds can own fully automatic Uzis once they start their own OnlyFans and they can afford it, right?
That's entirely up to
I
the
don't
parents.
know.
I would recommend it personally.
I guess if some parent out there wants to let their 8-year-old make those kinds of choices, then that's what you're going to end up with. I don't see how
So
you're
if-
going to stop
if-
that
if-
anyways.
So yeah, you can.
What are you going to? You're going to stop that by making it illegal? Okay, sure. That doesn't happen, man.
Well, you can make anything. You can make anything "quote unquote" illegal if there's enough money to fund it to stopping it.
What does it stop
That's what the market does. That's what the market, right? Freedom can't even explain property, right? You come up with this bullcrap method of determining property with homesteading and rightful transfer. It doesn't even make sense.
That's.
Like, how
I didn't
far
come up
above-
with anything
how
about
far-
property.
Do you believe in it? How do you determine property?
Maybe I'm not.
Homesteading, right?
I'm not completely
First
sure
use is
on.
voluntary transfer.
So some
would say
things
that-
can be proper to you, but
Yeah,
do you
some
own
things
them?
can.
Like, are they your own? I'm not sure about
not
that.
kids. I'm
I-
talking about land. I'm also talking
know.
about kids too.
I kind of think that everything sort of belongs to nature, but some things are proper to you, meaning that you have the highest and best claim to
But
use
you
over
believe in
them.
self-ownership. Is your body owned by nature too, or do you own yourself? It doesn't make
Seems
any
like
sense.
it's a product of nature, and then we'll go back to nature no matter what I try.
Yeah, you can't live forever. Does nature not control your body at that point? Skeeter, you get older every
What are
year,
you
don't
guys
you?
talking about? But what do you guys? I know nature. I know. Look, I don't want to explain what I believe because, of course, I believe evolution owns us. Right? It punishes us and rewards us for our decisions. I'm not here. I'm not on trial here. Libertarianism. I'm making libertarianism look stupid right now. You guys aren't
can't make
you guys
yourself
are
look stupid.
evading every question I'm putting forth. Right?
No,
So how? So in
trying to talk about
to
them.
the people who believe in homesteading, right?
Mm-hmm.
How far above the surface of the earth and below the surface of the earth do you own when you enclose a surface area of the earth in a fence?
That's a tricky question.
That's stupid, right? You know what the real answer that answers all these questions that's rational? It's production. Production tells you what to defend, what to stop, what.
So
what
you're
to
saying you get to
sanction,
own the property.
How far above the earth, how far below the earth you can own. Production.
So you get to own it all the way
determines
up or all the way down, depending on how productive
Well, if
you
you
are
can
with it.
defend it, if there's no valid other use, so let's say take space, 3D space, right? If there's no other person willing to outbid you for that, then you can defend it, right? It's going to be zero. It's going to cost zero to defend. Now, if there is someone with an alternative use to what you think you can use it for, you're going to have to outbid them. And see how production pays for its own defense, while freedom doesn't. No one's going to defend a bum who can't use land, who homesteading, right? No one's going to defend him. Not Goodwill, not libertarians. You guys don't defend anybody. Look at Ian. What, did you come to his defense? No, he's in prison, right?
What would
You weren't willing to
what would
fight
you
the government?
suggest be done about that?
Also, you know what the stupidest thing is? You guys are already free. You guys can't even answer. Since you guys can't deal with property, you guys can't even answer about collective ownership and the fact that you're already free and the fact that you're breaking the rules of the collective set forth by the representatives.
I think it's okay
You're
for
breaking
things to be
your own
owned
rules.
collectively. I don't think it's okay to rope people into the collective that don't agree
What
with
about
what the
people?
collective is
Okay,
doing.
There's a problem with that. Because people are born, right? How do you account for newborns? So if let's say a group of people owns a space of land and a newborn pops up there, are they owed some piece of that land to be free on?
Uh,
Doesn't freedom answer this?
Well, it'd be the answer is it's
does.
who owns it to begin with, what they want to do with it.
I already told you, a group of people control it.
Yeah, a group of people control it, so a newborn
here's
gets
how
born. So it's up to the
hold
people
on.
who control it on if the newborn, it's their decision.
That's right.
Exactly.
Because it's their land.
Right?
So the newborn can go
Exactly.
15 miles to the east, and once he's of age, and he can build on his own land. He doesn't have to
What do you mean
rely
of
on
age?
them.
It doesn't need to be of age. They can kick them out when they're a baby, right? Evictionism. Isn't that what Rothbard
They could.
advocated
I would
for?
certainly hope humans wouldn't make that choice.
But this collective in the United States gives us a privilege. They give us free access to the land and all the public goods provided by the collective until we're working age. And we can make a decision whether we can leave or stay. And by staying, that's implicit consent. Right? This is what you're doing, and you guys are advocating for breaking the rules.
where would
for
I leave
secession,
to?
Stupid stuff like secession. What?
Where would I leave to?
Is the group responsible for your opportunities outside their property?
What?
I have no idea what you just said.
Is the so if you're born on collective property, is that collective responsible for your opportunities outside of the collective? Like you want to leave, but you have nowhere to go. Let's say it's a small island on, it's just a small island with nowhere else to go. They're not responsible for giving you an opportunity outside the collective. Your responsibility is to leave, not try to forcefully take it with secession, right? They give you co-ownership with a vote.
You don't think?
Do any of you own property here?
You don't think humans have a responsibility to each other at all?
For production's sake only.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So what about a voted secession? If the people who have been afforded a vote and they vote that this land is no longer a part of the collective, what stops them? If a bunch of newborns get together and say no more, this is now ours, and they have the ability to defend it.
That's valid. But what's not valid is a little group of extremists getting together on a small part of that land and claiming that part of that land is theirs when the whole group didn't give that permission. That's unilateral secession. That is a violation of your own principles, right? Bilateral secession doesn't violate this. You have to get everybody's permission.
Only if you think that
permission is valid when there's co-ownership.
So are you saying Southern secession was valid then? Since they voted on it.
You have to defend your position, dude.
You have to get
because they had to get the whole collection. So the original war for independence also wasn't valid because you didn't have,
what was it, 3%ers? So you're saying the revolution isn't valid then because most people were Tories?
It sounds like you're saying that.
So no country is valid since they don't have full consent from all the other countries.
No,
and so
it depends. It depends on their situation.
So by that logic, only one world order could be.
You're not original homesteaders, right? You're born into the system. During secession, some of them might have had attachment to the original people who owned the land before the
natives,
federalized.
The native tribes. I mean, they owned it before it was colonized.
Well, give your property to the natives.
Well,
why don't you do that? Why? Because they have original ties to the land, which was taken from them by force from the federal government that you live under, that you keep living under.
Well, it was taken from them mostly by the British government and then later by the federal government. But are you saying that was okay? Like that was right action since the natives weren't able to defend it?
Why are you asking me? You know my position on property. I don't care as long as it's more productive, right? Land should be taken from native people because they're not efficient with it. And it's for the better, right? The fact that we took land from the Indians
is it though?
made humanity better.
I can make a very good argument that it did not make humanity better. In that
I can make the same argument because it's really traumatizing for those types of people.
A phrase that they called it "going native." It was anytime, like most of the time, when a white person would end up living among the native tribes, they found life far more enjoyable and didn't want to come back.
Yeah, those mountain men, Kit Carson, those fur trappers, Daniel Boone, Davy Crockett, all those guys went native. They had multiple native wives.
I would argue that the Native American societies had a far higher quality of spiritual comfort in this world than any kind of westernized society has ever gained. You got anything to say about that? I don't know if you could hear me.
Yeah, libertarians always argue from exception. It's strategies they are never willing to take themselves. There's Native American reservations. You know what? There's a tribal land. There's a tribal land on Sentinel Island. Why don't you renounce it?
The Native American traditions have been destroyed.
What's that?
The Native American traditions have been destroyed. They were kind of dependent on the nomadism, and that's no longer available.
Do you know why? Do you know why? You know why all these indigenous tribes get destroyed? Because they're not productive. They cannot produce enough to protect their land.
Produce enough what?
That's
Skeeter?
a natural force. What's that?
Produce enough what? Paper money? Gold? What? Enough what? Is joy an asset? Is joy worth striving towards in this world?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
People can't be striving for
Thanks
joy
for the
or
call.
happiness. Thanks, Skeeter.
Oh, Skeeter. I think you just joy not being. I mean, that just. Oh, buddy. I hope you find like happiness.
I do too, man. Like happiness is worth striving for. It's worth living for. It's worth fighting for.
Well, it's a fleeting emotion, sure. It's a
definitely
dopamine
is.
hit, but
it's not a guarantee in life. But you have the right to pursue happiness after all.
Yep. So it's not productive, according to Skeeter, to seek any kind of comforts for yourself in this world. So just subordinate yourself to the Bored Collective and fall in line.
Any kind of comfort. I wonder if Skeeter plays video games, or like, does he just sit on like a wooden bench in his mom's basement, staring at the ceiling, just thinking about how he's not enough, and that's it. He's not productive enough.
I don't even like to think where such strange notions come from. This guy needs a girlfriend.
Oh, so bad, dude. I almost want
to.
He needs someone to socialize with.
Well, he scares the huzz with the
Skeeter. Find one of the
with this rhetoric, dude. He probably goes off at the party. He pins some poor girl in the corner, and then it's just 50. It's for her. It feels like 8 hours, but it's him for 15 minutes yapping about how he needs to take land for production.
Get on one of the less skeezy dating apps and find a girl that can at least pretend interest in your crazy theories and try to develop a real human relationship. See, that might help you out a little bit in life, Skeeter. I've got an article here that I would like to read. It's at Activist Post.
Ooh, let's hear it.
By
a reputable news source.
They are reputable. This is titled "U.S. Government's Leap Toward Universal Genetic Surveillance in the Guise of Immigration Enforcement." It notes that the following is a summary of an article published by Biometric Update. Let's see here. Genetic privacy erodes as millions of DNA profiles are entered into U.S. database. It represents a leap toward universal genetic surveillance in the guise of immigration enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security has built a vast DNA surveillance system in the United States with over 1.5 million genetic profiles entered into the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Combined DNA Index System, which they call CODIS, in just 4 years, as revealed in 2024 report by Georgetown Law Center on Privacy and Technology. The report warned that immigration powers are being used as a tool for population-scale genetic monitoring, with people of color disproportionately affected, and that the system has expanded to include not only non-U.S. persons, but also U.S. citizens, including children. The collection of DNA samples from non-U.S. persons was authorized by the Bipartisan DNA Fingerprint Act of 2005, but the Biden administration declined to fully implement the law, while the Trump administration mandated its implementation through an executive order. Under the Trump administration, DHS and Customs and Border Protection accelerated DNA collection, integrated a data infrastructure provided by Palantir, and pushed genetic surveillance further into the country's interior, raising concerns about privacy, due process, and executive power. Between 2020 and 2024, CBP took DNA samples from approximately 2,000 U.S. citizens, including at least 95 minors. These samples were sent for inclusion in CODIS, often without justification or charges being filed, which is a violation of CBP's own directive. In July, the Center on Privacy and Technology published an update that paints a disturbing portrait of a government genetic collection program that is vast, legally dubious, and resistant to oversight, with the software infrastructure provided by Palantir through lucrative contracts awarded by the Trump administration. Here we go with the Palantir DNA surveillance state.
That's a little concerning.
A little bit. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about that. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 13th through the 16th for the 8th annual Fork Fest at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest is a fork of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which has sold out in recent years. Fork Fest happens the weekend before the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Fork Fest is decentralized, which means that there's no ticket cost and no one is in charge. All you have to do to join the fun is reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 13th through the 16th. You can find out more at the unofficial website, forkfest.party. You can also connect with other attendees on the Forkfest Telegram and Matrix chat rooms, as well as the Forkfest Forum. You can find links to those at forkfest.party. We hope to see you there June 13th through the 16th. Forkfest.party. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, was sentenced to more than 4 years in jail on prostitution charges in New York on Friday. Diddy was found guilty of the crimes in July, which relate to incidents the 55-year-old arranged called freak-offs at hotels across America. FSN's Mitch McCann has more from New York.
On Friday, prosecutors told the judge that Combs should receive a sentence of 135 months in jail, more than 11 years, and argued that he lacked remorse. They asked the judge to consider the long-term effects on the women involved. Lawyers for Combs argued he had learned his lesson. One defence attorney became tearful, telling the court that Combs is now clear-headed, determined, focused and remorseful. Addressing the court himself, Sean Combs described his behaviour as disgusting, shameful and sick. He said because of his decisions, he lost his freedom and the opportunity to be there for his mother and his children. Eventually, the judge sentenced Combs to 50 months and also imposed a $500,000 fine. In his address, the judge said a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which shows you abuse the power and control over the lives of women who you profess to love.
The U.S. government shut down for the first time in almost 7 years after members of Congress failed to agree a last-ditch funding deal. FSN's Charlotte North has more from Washington.
Efforts in the Senate to keep the government funded fell short late on Tuesday despite frenetic negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke this morning after funding was cut off.
At midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices.
The way forward is unclear as both sides have blamed the other for the shutdown. The White House is telling agencies to prepare plans for mass firings.
Those were some of the week's top stories.
A report released Tuesday by physicists at Stanford University revealed that the entire known universe, from the whole of human civilization to the totality of matter and energy, is actually the fictional setting of a cop show called Hard Case. According to authors of the report, existence as we know it was created solely to provide the framework for the primetime drama that airs weekly in a parallel universe, and that every historical event prior to the show's September 2008 pilot, including the Renaissance, World War II, evolution, the September 11th attacks, and the presidential administrations of Washington through Clinton, never actually happened and are merely part of the elaborate backstory crafted by Hard Case creator and showrunner Dominic Egan.
We used to believe that our universe operated under immutable laws of thermodynamics and gravitational relativity, but now we know everything just comes from the minds of Hard Case's 12 staff writers. Overall, it seems like a very well-written show.
Physicists have theorized that the universe as we know it will cease to exist whenever Hard Case airs its final episode.
This is the Onion News Network. Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. This is talk radio that you control. Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. And we will have a conversation with you. Hopefully you're better at it than Skeeter.
I think anyone can be better than Skeeter. It's not hard to beat.
Yep, I think Skeeter might be our worst conversationist repeat caller that we've ever had. So the bar is very low.
But he is dedicated. There's something to say for his ability to show up every week. He does show up every week. Skeeter, if you can show up every week for this, you can show up every week for a date with a girl.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. You got this.
So about this Palantir. Oh boy, Palantir doing Palantir things. This is the government being corrupt. Shocking news at 12.
Yeah. Kind of knew that Palantir's surveillance state was coming, but this is telling us about how it's going to be a Palantir DNA surveillance state.
Well, the scary part about the DNA part is they don't have to get everybody's DNA. They just have to get your third cousin's DNA.
That's right.
Are they going to use 23andMe to gather out?
They already do.
Oh.
They already subpoena 23andMe for DNA.
Do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Did anybody think that was about something else?
Yeah, I saw that when I was 12, and I was like, I'm not
going
gonna
to see how related we are, and here we are, being surveilled by them.
By how related we are.
Before that, the best database they had, I think, was the Mormon Genealogical Research.
Oh wow!
Because they were really good at doing their genealogical research.
Mormons definitely are really good at doing their family history. They want to know how they're related and why they're related and everything. And then, it's actually really nice because sometimes we forget our ancestors.
Yeah, because when you're walking around with 8 wives, it's hard to not end up with a bunch of cousins.
I know.
It's funny though that my family seemed to know less about my distant relatives than I do. Just from having done maybe 20 hours of research.
Well, the internet is such a crazy tool.
I can tell you that from my father's side of the lineage, I come from a line that takes you back to around 1000 AD when I forgot the guy's first name, but Mr. Bolton was the bowman of the King's Forest, which is equivalent to the bad guy in Robin Hood.
Oh, really?
Like the guy that made sure you didn't show up and poach the king's deer.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. They used to do ammunition checks back then. Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't even know about this. The government controlled your ammunition even in 1000 AD.
Oh, that's right.
The bowman would come up and check to see if you had blunt points or not, because you can kill rabbits with a blunt point, but not a deer. So they would come see if you had a broadhead, and if you had broadheads, you get arrested because you were going to kill the king's deer, because somehow the king owned all the deer.
Yep. And not only that, as soon as the invention of the crossbow came out, those were illegal for commoners to hold because the crossbow put you on par with a knight. You could punch a hole right through his armor.
Can't have that.
Can't have that.
Can't have that. A commoner is a knight's favorite thing to beat up.
Okay, so let's read some more from this article at the Activist Post. The use of Palantir surveillance technology has enabled the federal government to stitch together genetic profiles of other biometric and personal data, raising stark constitutional questions about the limits of executive power and the protection of citizens' privacy and due process rights.
That's such a non sequitur. Everything is a question of the executive branch's power. They've been doing it for the past 20 years. We've been questioning the executive branch for 20 years. That's just that's just gobbledygook slop.
This time it's the left's term to act all virtuous on keeping the executive branch accountable.
Yeah. Well, the original deal was supposed to be protection of the individual's rights, and when it failed to do that, it was your right and it was your duty to alter or abolish. But I think we went way past that point without doing the part we were supposed to.
Yeah, I think all the Skeeter stuff falls apart because we did agree to this set of rules, and one party of the contract has ripped the contract up in front of us and done whatever they wanted.
Exactly,
which makes the contract null and void.
Abolish this agreement.
Yeah,
and the New Hampshire Constitution in Article 10 says we have the right of revolution. Actually, rebellion, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The right of rebellion, enshrined in a constitutional document for a state. I think someone had a good idea.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like whatever he called it, unilateral, stealing the government's property. Basically how he frames it. Back to the article. The expansion of DNA collection by the DHS has raised concerns among civil liberties advocates who warn that this could be used, that this could lead to a universal database linking DNA to people's movements, communications, and family ties.
You think?
Yeah, you think. According to researchers at Georgetown, the DHS program, we're going to call it that, is a significant step towards universal genetic surveillance, disguised as immigration enforcement, and its impact on citizens and non-citizens cannot be separated. The FBI and other U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies have been using bioforensic DNA data to test whether genetic material can be parsed to identify or narrow down unknown subjects of interest by comparing unknown DNA genetic sequences against known sequences.
What I was just talking about. They just need your third cousin's DNA.
Mm-hmm.
take a part of his DNA, look at it, and say, oh, well, there's only so many people that this could be with who they're related to. And then
I almost wonder,
whittle it down from there.
I almost wonder, and I'm pretty sure they could do this, they could create a genetic weapon to take out some people with certain genes now.
Yep, that's...
They already do that.
That's
Is that what COVID was all about?
I don't know if COVID was necessarily a genetic... if that was a genetic weapon, but we already have genetic weapons. We already do have sicknesses that only affect certain peoples.
Like
we just
sickle
don't
cell
use
anemia.
them. Some Geneva Convention or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. The Center on Privacy and Technology noted that DNA samples can reveal intimate personal details such as biological sex, ancestry, health, and predisposition to disease, as well as biological relations across generations, putting non-citizens at greater risk due to DHS's activities. CBP has increased its biometric surveillance capabilities by expanding DNA collection at the border, including collecting DNA from children as young as 4 years old. Despite initial assurances that only DNA from persons aged 14 to 79 would be collected. The Department of Justice's elimination of the regulatory exemption that spared DHS from full DNA collection has led to a significant increase in DNA profiles added to CODIS, with over 1.5 million profiles added by DHS in just 4 years, and a total of over 2.6 million profiles by spring 2025. The U.S. government has been collecting DNA profiles from millions of people, primarily from four countries: Mexico, Venezuela, Cuba, and Haiti, which account for over 70% of the dataset, with the majority of those affected being minors who have not faced any criminal charges. The DNA collection program, which is part of the DNA Fingerprint Act, has been criticized for lacking transparency, oversight, and accountability, with the government providing no information on what happens to people who refuse to provide a DNA sample, which is a federal misdemeanor punishable by up to a year in prison. Researchers from the Center on Privacy and Technology have found that the program has embedded the DNA database into a broader surveillance infrastructure, creating a foundation for universal monitoring, and have called for the program to be halted, the collected profiles to be purged, and a ban on the use of immigration powers to amass DNA. But the Trump administration has deepened the integration of DNA surveillance into government systems through a March executive order that mandated cross-agency information sharing. And with immigration arrests surging throughout the nation, citizens and long-term residents are at risk of being pulled into the government's genetic net. Congress has the power to repeal the DNA collection provision of the DNA Fingerprint Act or impose strict limits on the DHS and the FBI, but the political will to do so remains uncertain, and researchers are calling for comprehensive regulation of the collection, creation, storage, and sharing of genetic data by public and private actors. The collection of DNA profiles is a permanent and indefinite process, with DNA containing a person's biological blueprint and family ties, which can be mined in ways not yet imaginable. And the danger lies not only in how the government uses this data today, but also in what future administrations may do with it. And that is the end of that article. So that's a terrifying thought.
It's a very terrifying thought. It's like like Angela said, it's eugenics. And we're definitely doing this again.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's eugenics. Yep. And I have a feeling it's going to swing a certain direction.
You imagine how excited the Stasi guys would have been had they had this technology?
Oh, they'd be all over it. Oh, man.
They'd be jumping for joy.
You know, I thought 1984 was a warning by Orwell, but I guess, the people wanted to use it as a user's manual.
This is nothing new. They already do this in China. Entire families have been cornered in their hometowns in China. They can't get jobs, they can't get paid, they can't leave. And it's all through mass monitoring. It's all through DNA tracking who's related to who is predispositioned to be a problem for the government, and then they just unperson you before you can create a problem. For them. It's only an issue when it creates a problem for the goons, for the tyrants. Not when you have a problem. If you have a problem and need to go to the Capitol, you can't buy a train ticket. You can't get cab fare. You cannot leave. They've just unpersoned you. And you have no recourse. Because you can't leave. You can't buy a ticket. You can't get out.
Mm-hmm. That's why they imprison you.
An open air panopticon prison. It is Orwellian. It is 1984. And it's here. All these books, they saw it coming from all these miles away, and we just sat back and let it go. We traded the liberties for securities.
What do you gentlemen say we ought to do about this? How do we prevent this from becoming a major reality, or can we?
I think I don't know, man. I think it's over. I hate to say it. I hate to black pill.
Nah, it's not over until it's over. But the closer it gets to being over, the more of an effort it will take to not have the destructive end that's coming. I think it could still be avoided. And I think the answer is more in what we stop adding our power to than what it is that, we actively do.
And it starts by getting out of the US dollar as much as possible.
That's a big one. Not sending your children to the government schools.
This is another big one. Having kids, period, is a big one. Nobody my age is having kids.
Not being dependent on any government program is a big one.
Oh, it's a huge one. And a difficult one.
Not having a job that lends power to the military-industrial complex. That's a big step in the right direction.
That's hard because they're all owned by the same people.
Well, too bad. Quit your job. The paycheck is not life. You will have a life without a paycheck. Quit your job. Don't work for
evil people.
Don't work for Raytheon. Don't work for Boeing. You know what they do. They blow up brown kids all over the world. Don't add to that. It's immoral and you know it. Quit your job. All right, guys. What do you want to talk about next? We can talk about Bitcoin, or we can talk about the modern food system.
We can talk about the food system. I don't know a ton about Bitcoin technologies. I'm not a computer nerd.
Yeah, Bitcoin would be a good topic for Mr. Penguin.
I nerded out real hard on the crypto stuff for about 4 years until the 2017 hard fork, which created Bitcoin Cash. And then I was strongly disillusioned of all the
cryptocurrencies,
all the pie in the sky wonderful things that crypto was going to do for us. Just kind of flew right out the window.
I can see that for sure.
And it doesn't mean that, I don't like crypto. I like crypto, but I think it's just going to lead to trouble.
It's because nothing's coming to save us. You have to save yourself.
That's right. You have to save yourself.
Crypto's not going to do it. Silver's not going to do it. God knows Donald Trump isn't going to do it. You have to do it.
So we've got another article here from the Activist Post. I like these guys. This is from Colin Toddhunter. Yuck, the sour taste of the modern food system. The Yucca app, spelled Y-U-K-A, is a mobile application designed to help consumers quickly access the health quality of food and cosmetic products by scanning their barcodes. It produces a health score ranging from 0 to 100 and provides a color-coded rating which categorizes products as excellent, good, mediocre, or poor for health. The scoring system is based on 3 weighted factors: nutritional quality, 60%, presence and risk of additives, 30%, and organic certification status, 10%. Using frameworks like Nutri-Score and data from the European Food Safety Authority, among others, Yucca evaluates calories, sugar, saturated fats, salt, protein, fiber, and fruit or vegetable content, alongside toxicological analysis of additives. It cannot detect the presence of glyphosate or other health-destroying toxic pesticides, but it does give organic a 10% weighting. The app offers clear, plain language ingredient breakdowns and suggests healthier alternatives when a scan returns a low rating. It prides itself on independence, refusing brand sponsorship or advertising. The people behind Yucca make their money through premium features that customers pay for. This seems to be a convenient tool, and it's good for reasons that tens of millions around the world are using the app. Oh, it's for good reason. But food is supposed to be nourishing and life-affirming. Now we need an app to detect its toxicity. How did we arrive here? Behind every barcode scan lies a vast network of production and distribution shaped by agribusiness monopolies, chemical-intensive farming, processing industries, and regulatory frameworks that prioritize market growth and corporate margins over human and ecological well-being. The health hazards Yucca identifies are not accidents. They are the direct result of a foodscape engineered for shelf life, profit, and convenience rather than nutrition or human need. The Yucca app offers a convenient, consumer-friendly tool that provides users with clear, color-coded health scores and ingredient breakdowns to navigate a corporate-dominated foodscape. However, by reducing complex systemic issues to individual choices at the supermarket shelf, for all its good intentions, Yucca individualizes responsibility for food health while possibly obscuring the larger political and economic forces behind unhealthy products. It cannot name the agribusiness conglomerates, highlight the regulatory capture, or show the root causes behind global inequities in food access that sustain this harmful system. The app simplifies a profound structural food crisis into a matter of personal consumer decisions, diverting attention from the urgent need to confront the forces and policies that have shaped the prevailing food system. The modern industrial food system is primarily driven by corporate agribusiness and major food companies whose actions are responsible for a shift towards ultra-processed, nutrient-deficient products that are fueling epidemics of obesity, diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular diseases worldwide. But this is good for business, whether the business of the giant agri-food players or the healthcare sector. You guys know about all of this? How the agribusiness?
Oh yeah.
When they took over, basically they replaced the growing of all nutritional food with nutrient deficient food.
Well, that's just Monsanto. It's all Monsanto. When they say monopolistic agribusiness, it's Monsanto. That's the name of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so they can give us the illusion that we're trying to feed you healthy things? But
no, okay, you want to hear something crazy, Riley?
Well,
yes. So Monsanto
it's to give
owns...
the illusion that they're feeding the world, that they're growing more.
Oh.
But it doesn't actually grow more.
Okay.
Yeah. So Monsanto owns this. This is a crazy fact. Monsanto owns Roundup that kills dandelions, right? The chemical that kills dandelions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out if you make a dandelion tea, it's a natural, like a heart medication, and they also own the patent on the heart medication.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, those weeds, those yellow flower weeds.
Yeah, those yellow flower weeds.
Those are good for you.
Yeah, you can use those. There's a lot of health benefits in dandelions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same chemical. It's the same chemical makeup as the pill. It's the same thing in the dandelion tea that's in the pill.
Yeah.
So they sell you the poison. They're literally selling you the poison to kill the plant that can help you, and then selling you the product.
And they knew it was poisonous to humans and just denied it until it became obvious. And then they were willing to, pay a couple million, even though they had made hundreds of billions already on it. So, they still made a win there.
And then they got to sell you the heart medication. So they got to murder you and sell you the meds.
That's right, because guess who owns Monsanto? Bayer.
What? Is it? Yeah, Bayer. Yeah, it's Bayer. Yeah.
So
everyone's in bed together, it seems.
And I'm pretty sure Bayer's owned by, at this point, probably has a decent holding in Vanguard and BlackRock.
Yep.
Owns most of Bayer. I would bet. If I don't know for sure, but if I had to put money on it, I would put money on that Bayer's owned by BlackRock and Vanguard to at least a 50%, if not more margin.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to companies like Monsanto in the future? Do you think they're going to get wiped out?
We're all going to be too weak. We're not going to have any food that feeds us enough to take them down.
That's a terrifying thought.
That's the plan. But if I don't think if it's obvious by now that the goal is to take free-thinking people and to herd them like cattle into the pod to eat the bugs and the slop, then I don't know. It's the most obvious thing, is that they're so sick of people having autonomy. They want us to be the machines.
Yeah, they want to be able to harvest all your energy without worrying about you causing problems for them. So, get in the pod and easy bugs. The expansion of the healthcare industry, often hailed as economic progress, is in fact a grim reflection of dietary failure. More hospitals, pharmaceuticals, and bioscience parks signal rising diet-related diseases caused by the industrial food model. This form of growth is a self-sustaining disaster, ignoring dependence on unhealthy commodities and the duplicitous actions of agribusiness at food corporations while obscuring the human cost behind GDP numbers. The perverse cycle contrasts sharply with traditional health philosophies such as Ayurveda in India, which views health as a product of holistic harmony, interwoven connections among body, mind, diet, community, and natural environment underpinned by spiritual awareness. Ayurveda is interesting. If you have any thoughts about the subject of food in this country, give us a call, 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FS.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
This is Free Talk Live. Talk radio you control. Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. And in the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley,
and Angelo.
We were reading an article here from Activist Post about the dismal quality of food in our country. It was talking about the Yucca app and how it can tell you about nutritional profile and things, but how it can't tell you about the horrible things that agribusiness in general has done to the food systems.
My grandpa been on this early because I've always been fat, right? So this has been a lifelong thing for your boy here. And he brought it upon himself that he was going to do a bunch of research on the internet, and he kind of turned into my life coach, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on this whole, the food systems actually lied to you and ruined you and the food's all trash in like 2012, 2013. He was like, oh my God, they've been lying to us the whole time. Like,
yeah,
the bread is no good. The meat's all cloned. It's they've just, no wonder you're fat, Angelo. They've ruined the food.
That's really crazy.
And they've made you addicted to these sugars and these processed foods that just destroy you.
Yeah. All of the micronutrients that are supposed to be present in any given food is basically not there in any of your grocery store food.
Well, they've stripped the nutrients out of the soil.
Right.
They've just, it's the monocrop agriculture with gallons and gallons of liquid death.
Yeah, and if you as the listener don't believe this, go out and get yourself a high quality magnesium supplement and take that and just see how different you feel. And that's because that difference is because that's supposed to be in the food, but it's not, because it's not in the soil anymore, and they don't add it back. They just add back the same 3 basic nutrients that make plants grow. And they just monocrop the ground, and you end up with nutrient devoid food. So
and the soil becomes...
You can eat a ton of it and still be starving. And
yeah, and it also creates a nutrient-deficient soil, too. So it's like they're ruining everything, and they don't rotate the crops at all because they don't think about it.
Well, because there's no money in rotating crops.
I know.
We sell corn, so we grow corn. We don't... Yeah, most farmers... when I asked my grandpa as a kid, like, how did you guys do the farms when, like... Because he grew up on farms in Iowa. And he said, yeah, we did a lot of corn, but we'd like rotate the field. Because if you didn't rotate the field, you'd end up with like Oklahoma in a dust bowl where you've stripped the ground of everything to the point where it's dry.
Oh, yeah.
And you've just ruined your... these giant corporations have just skipped the fact that you'll create a dust bowl by using all these chemicals to skip over nature.
Well, yeah. As soon as you stop using them, anyways. As long as you keep using them.
Brondo, it's what plants crave.
Yeah, but why? Because it's got electrolytes.
That's what they want.
But what is an electrolyte? It's what plants crave. Back to this article. Ayurveda is preventative, seasonal, and local, intimately attuned to people and place. It stands as the antithesis of the dominant biomedical model, which fragments the body into parts, treats symptoms with drugs, and ignores toxic food and degraded environments as root causes of illness. The modern reliance on technological fixes like the Yucca app is part of a sickening profits cycle. Bioscience parks and tech startups promise marvelous techno solutions to health crises that are themselves products of corporate food systems. These innovations commodify health consciousness, resulting in the purchase of some or other app, but fail to challenge the roots of the problem. As bioscience parks expand, encouraged by public subsidies and success measured by profits and growth, they demand ever more land and roll out their stream of innovative high-tech healthcare through genetic engineering, nanotechnologies, and biopharmaceuticals. In the not-too-distant future, once fertile farmland is replaced by sprawling life science parks and solar panels, will food become a synthetic lab product created at the life science park and detached from nature and community? What app will guide consumers then? Perhaps a neural lace fixed at the base of the skull, if Sainsbury's has its way. See Manifesto for Corporate Control and Technocratic Tyranny, Chapter 6. I've never heard about this. I got a thing I want to look into now. Current policies prioritize global markets, industrial agriculture, corporate supply chains, corporate seeds, and knowledge and highly processed food at the expense of smallholder farms, territorial markets, local supply chains, indigenous seeds and knowledge, diverse agroecological cropping, and nutrient-dense diets.
I don't know why they just can't say crop rotation, proper crop rotation, instead of whatever that agro gobbledy.
I don't know. I guess they've got to sound
agroecological cropping.
Agroecological cropping.
Diverse agroecological cropping.
Oh, that just sounds like a bunch of doublespeak.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's describing a good thing, but those are some very strange words for just rotate your crops. And when we factor in the plethora of corporate captured international and national policy-making bodies that facilitate all of the above, we have a response to the question asked earlier. This is how we arrived where we are. Real change requires democratized governance and restoration of culturally rooted ecologically sound foodways that prioritize holistic health and food sovereignty over commodification and profit. Real change requires democratized governance and restoration.
Yeah, okay, yeah, whatever.
Culturally rooted.
All right, yeah, okay, sure. That's the
Okay. 49. That's kind of vague.
That's 51% of people if they want to keep eating McDonald's or not.
Democratized governance might not be a horrible thing, depending on exactly how it were implemented. But I don't know. So far, that hasn't played out in such a good way. Scan your good cereal and celebrate your excellent yogurt, but remain oblivious to the monocropped fields, the degraded soils, the plundered farmers, the land seizures, the pesticide residues, the devastated rural communities, and the corporate seeds hijacked from farmers. No app, algorithm, or tech startup will save us from the consequences of an industrial food system where we refuse to confront, and whose immense health, environmental, and social costs we continue to bear. Genuine food awareness lies beyond the supermarket aisle.
Yeah, I think GMO seeds are... Yeah, we didn't even touch on the fact that all of these plants, on top of having all of these gallons and gallons of pesticides poured over them, they've been genetically modified in a lab to not reproduce and then to be resistant to these poisons. So like it's your tomato grows in a vat of poison and it's just been genetically modified in a lab to not die from poison.
Yep. And on the big cattle farms, the condition of your average cow is just, it's disgusting. The amount of antibiotics they're on, the amount of just infection.
Well, they sit in a concrete box full of manure. It's just full of parasites and disgusting. It's disease ridden.
The type of garbage they're fed, all of it. The
corn,
the sadness.
Cows don't. Cows aren't even supposed to eat corn.
No, they're not supposed to.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're not built for it, and so they feed cows
grass.
corn and. it's just, yeah. Actually, horses are better built for corn.
Horses aren't even supposed to eat that much corn. They're more like, I used to sell the feed it's a molasses mix.
Oh, okay.
It's a bunch of grains like oats and some barley and wheat all mixed into like molasses, so they get the sugars that they need. Horses love that stuff. It's called wet feed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and during the winter it gets so super cold. It is just like molasses. It's like a jar of molasses, and it'll just turn into a brick.
Yeah, I bet.
But during the summer it gets super hot. It'll like ooze out of the side of the bag. And you'll see like molasses dripping down the side of this, this burlap sack, or I guess they're paper bags now.
Yeah.
But yeah, horses eat more and hay. Horses, except hot hay, you got to be careful because it'll cause bloat. Horses just do good on grass too. Most animals, rudimentary, not rudimentary. There's a word that starts with an R. Ruminary, like a ruminary animal. They just eat grass, or like kudzu. The answer to the kudzu problem in the South is that people got animals again. The like goats and sheep and cows would just annihilate the kudzu problem in the South. They eat it out of the ground. They'll eat it to the roots and rip the roots out, and they'll just eat it till it dies.
That's actually a good answer. So
yeah,
why
they
don't
will
they
eat
do
it
that?
till it dies.
Why don't they do that?
Well, nobody wants to take care of goats. Everybody's become suburbanized.
Okay.
So all these areas.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I've been watching these videos of this guy. He rents out his goats as like a lawn mowing service to these super overgrown properties.
That's so cool.
And it takes like 2 or 3 days, and the goats will just take take everything down to the roots and eat it all. Yep. Branches, twigs, sticks, they'll eat all of it down to nothing. And it's good for them. And then,
I've heard of pigs being used in a similar manner. Renting pigs to clear your land.
Yeah, pigs will get into the root systems better because they like to root and with their tusks. Well, they don't have tusks, but the idea is they like to root around in the dirt.
Yep.
And get all that stuff out. Yeah, I think we've totally disconnected ourselves from, even in the past 30, 40 years or so, we've become so distant from our animal friends.
I know,
that
and
we
the
used
earth.
to use.
And the earth and its seasons,
Yeah. Like, I mean, they're tools, right? We have them. We didn't just have them for no reason. We've traded our liberties for securities, and now we get poisoned food because nobody wanted to take time to feed goats, or take care of themselves. They'd rather go work in their air conditioned office.
That's right. I think we got time to get into one more. Another one over here at Activist Post. This one is from Chris Hedges, and it might make some people upset a little bit. Trump's war on America. Fascists, historically, are surprisingly candid about the world they intend to create. Those they target, despite this transparency, are surprisingly obtuse about what is coming. The most ominous warning to date from our homegrown fascist is the latest presidential memo countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. It accuses any critic of law enforcement, immigration, and customs enforcement, the American empire, capitalism, the Christian right, the persecution of immigrants, and those that decry discrimination based on race and gender, as well as those who question white male patriarchy, described as traditional American views on family, religion, and morality of fomenting violent revolution. That was quite the run-on.
I know. That's a lot of stuff.
It was just like every buzzword they could find thrown into a sentence, it feels like.
It is a declaration of war on the so-called radical left, those the Trump administration blames for heinous assassinations and other acts of political violence. From the murder of the right-wing pundit Charlie Kirk to the 2024 assassination of a senior healthcare executive and the 2022 assassination attempt against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, the memo goes on to list the 2 assassination attempts against Trump. The memo, typical of the self-serving narratives favored by Trump, ignores the murder by a Christian nationalist of Democratic Minnesota State Legislature Melissa Hortman and her husband, and the attempted murder of State Senator John Hoffman and his wife. These anti-fascists, the White House memo warns ominously, have created a movement that embraces and elevates violence to achieve policy outcomes, including justifying additional assassinations. The memo's definition of state enemies is by design amorphous, grounded in the fiction of phantom organizations bent on murder and sedition. The accusations are absurd. They are not based on evidence or verifiable fact, but as in all totalitarian regimes, truth is whatever those in power declare it to be. This truth justifies the crusade. The memo brazenly inverts the rule of law. It turns the law into an instrument of injustice. It uses the decorum of federal agencies, the courts, and trials to legalize state crimes. It is grounded in magical thinking, bizarre conspiracy theories, and a paranoia that sees the most tepid acts of dissent on criticism as treason. Those who defy the state will, I expect, be decapitated one by one. The forlorn hope that the state will tolerate those who obey will silence many who have already been condemned. Universal innocence, Alexander Solzhenitsyn writes in the Gulag Archipelago, also gave rise to the universal failure to act. Maybe they won't take you. Maybe it will all blow over. The majority sit quietly and dare to hope, he writes. Since you aren't guilty, then how can they arrest you? It's a mistake. Does hope lend strength, or does it weaken a man? Solzhenitsyn asks. If the condemned man in every cell had ganged up on the executioners as they came in and choked them, wouldn't this have ended the executioners sooner than the appeals to the All-Russian Central Executive Committee? When one is already on the edge of the grave, why not resist? But wasn't everything foredoomed anyway from the moment of arrest, he asks? Yet all the arrested crawled along the path of hope on their knees as if their legs had been amputated. Totalitarian regimes promulgate broad security decrees, from Stalin's Article 5810 to the Nazis' Malicious Practices Act, to give themselves the sweeping powers to indiscriminately target anyone. The memo lays out in chilling detail what I assumed in my column, "We Are All Antifa Now," was behind the Trump administration's designation of Antifa as a terrorist group. The designation allows the state to brand all dissidents as supporters of Antifa and prosecute them as terrorists.
It sure could do that, couldn't it?
Oh yeah, that's where I see this going. We have a caller on the line, so we're going to go to the phones. On the screen caller, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Uber George. It's been a while right there. I just wanted to call about how insurance companies could be such a scam. The whole car insurance thing. Basically, what happened was someone hit my car while it was parked a few weeks ago. Like just grazed it, like knocked my front plate off my car. Found it on the ground. Just scratched it. The insurance company, I go to the body shop that the insurance company, suggests, and they run up an estimate how much it's going to cost, and I'm covered, for this. I got, the full coverage. But anyway, the estimate says it's going to be $900 for that thing.
Oof.
I go to a different body shop, one that my used before, or that my family recommended, as a much smaller one. And just to fix my front bumper, like they just apparently just buffed it out essentially. And you know how much that one cost? Just $100.
Oh wow!
So literally, yeah. The body shop that my insurance company recommended wanted not over 9 times as much money to fix my car.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, it's insane. People wonder why they have to pay a fortune. They're paying a fortune every month for a car insurance. Right there. Did anyone ever run into this?
I never have, but
I've definitely had car insurance companies be garbage.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a racket for sure. I mean, I've dealt with. I had full coverage on my pickup, and I got T-boned. And they were found at fault, but somehow the insurance company was able just to not answer any phone calls, and it got to a point where I didn't get any money from this. They just decided not to answer any of my insurance company's phone calls. I think it's all a joke. They're all in bed on it together, and it's just another ploy to take money from your pocket to promise you a service in the future, and then when you call on that service, it's just extortion. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You're just getting extorted for money, more money to operate the car that you've already bought. It's just a way for politicians to line the pockets of their homies.
Yeah, I've heard about people
that part is true. Although the service part, I guess, one of the trouble here is just, oh my God, how much the price difference on what it costs to fix my car. Because my car is like 14 years old. You don't need to completely take off the whole front bumper, strip it of paint and repaint the whole thing again like that. And I just bust that out apparently right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just brutal that there would be that much of a discrepancy. Over $900.
If you're the auto body shop though, and you know that the insurance company will pay you $900 to do the work, and it's only you only need to charge $100. Why aren't you still getting charged the $900? Cause
how much was your copay or whatever?
$300.
$300.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for $100, it's just a way insurance companies probably cut deals with auto body shops saying we'll direct customers to you. So if you give us like a decent quote, it can still be outrageous, but a decent enough quote, we'll keep sending people to your shop. They all talk to each other. It's not like these guys aren't friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought I'd bring that up right
Why
there.
would one auto shop choose to give you a new bumper and the other shop just say, hey, let's just buff this thing out and save what we can?
I guess just, they're operating under the whole, most people are still making car payments, and it's what the bank wants and stuff like that. Me, I have my title in hand and stuff, I bought the car in cash.
Well, you get to pay your guys more. Like if I get to do if I got to strip a bumper, repaint it, and put it back on there, then I get to pay my employee for 5 hours of work when it was a $100 buff job. That took, how long was your car in? Like 30 minutes? An hour?
Yeah.
Half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour compared to like a 5-6 hour job that could have, kept somebody's lights on for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get the insurance companies to do what they said they were going to do, but a lot of times it takes a lot of harassing them.
Pulling teeth.
Oh yeah, they already paid me, like I did most of the claim to the app, and they were just like,
did they pay you $900? Did they pay you $900 and you got the $100? Oh, $600 because
$3. Yeah, because of the deductible.
Yeah, okay. But you got the $100 repair and got to keep $500, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the way to do it then, dude. Just if anything, you've just found a hack. Quit complaining and just keep milking them for more money.
Yeah. I'm not. Part of me, a lot of me is like, I'm complaining of the fact that my rates are probably going to go up. Come time to renew again.
That's funny too. I've heard of. I heard this story of a lady who made a claim, and her insurance company dropped her, and she called them up and yelled at them, and she knew exactly down to the cents exactly how much money she had given this insurance company over the years, and and how much she was asking for in her very first claim, and told them, "You're trying to drop me, and here's how much I paid you, and here's how much I'm asking for," and after having yelled at them for a little while, she was not only able to get her policy reinstated and the claim taken care of, but they also lowered her premium. So if you can, if you can really get aggressive with these guys,
a lot of it just comes down to bullying and what they think you're willing to put up with.
That's right,
and that's how they get away with it. It's the same way that the government gets away with it too. They want you uninformed on your rights.
Yeah, pretty much. Hold on a sec. Want to eat? Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'm at a pizza place right now picking up my dinner.
Oh.
Yeah. $10 for unlimited toppings at Domino's right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm taking advantage of that deal.
Well, are they still open? I might have to hit it when we get off. I'm pretty hungry.
Oh, man.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. Thanks for the call. Yeah, auto insurance companies can be very scammy.
You know, this is stuff I don't know about because I don't drive.
Yeah, you're lucky. Honestly, man, I've been driving since I started driving. At 16, it was me, and I drove everybody everywhere. I was the designated driver.
We'll be back next week with more. This has been Free Talk Live.
What if you found a $20 bill on the supermarket floor? I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. You could save at least that much by buying in bulk, but not everything. AARP recommends stocking up on bread, which freezes well. Canned fruits and veggies and salmon and tuna are easy to store and have a long shelf life, as does pasta and peanut butter. And stock up when you spot a great deal on toilet paper, paper towels, tissues, and napkins, and plastic wrap, plastic storage bags, and garbage bags. Worst foods to buy in bulk: big containers of junk food, which go stale quickly, and cheese, which doesn't freeze well. Because fish has high water content, freezing it too long can result in flavor loss. And olive oil has a limited shelf life. How are you coping? Post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists,